nightmare. It is a monster. It's in my head. I'm living my nightmare. It's in my head. I'm out of air.
Hello everybody, welcome to another Ames race here today. We are at race number 9 with our Group 3 series here at Circuit de Spa. I'm not going to say the last part of that name because I know I'll butcher and somebody's going to laugh at me. I'm here with Ryan in the commentator box. Ryan, how's it going today?
It's going great. This is going to be a hell of a race today. Spa is a legendary circuit, and rain is definitely on the menu today, as you're seeing on
We
screen
have
currently.
rain! We were talking about it last weekend with the MX-5 Cups, and we made some adjustments to get the rain that we were promised. But today we actually have rain, and we'll also be going through a day-night cycle, which is exciting. I can't remember the last time we've actually had any of that. Maybe some preseason testing?
I think we had one race where it got quite dark early on, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. And what we're doing today, we're being joined by Tony Cal and Moose for a little pre-race interview. How's it going, gents?
Pretty good. How are y'all doing?
Good.
Hello, boys. Welcome to the commentator box.
Yes. I hope you're cozy.
So,
Always.
I hope we're cozy. Yeah, there's a fire going, you know, we got some drinks being passed around, so good.
Yeah, it's a fireside chat, you know?
But yeah, so we're heading to round number 9 of our series here. Our last round is going to take place in a couple weeks over at the Nürburgring, which is going to be very exciting. But Circuit de Spa, legendary track. I think everybody loves it. If they say they don't, they're probably lying or just wrong. So
Like wrong, yeah.
if I all the above,
Yeah.
right? I'm actually going to pull up our points at the current before this race starts, I should say, for the series. And Moose, you are leading with 137 points. Tony, you're second with 121 points. So really, it's anyone's game still. You know, it's Moose, you got a decent lead, but we know we saw some hesitancy in the rain last week with the MX-5s. How are you feeling going into it today with the Group 3 car?
Put in a lot of practice this week. The rain, never been my strong suit, I would say. But, hopefully the practice I put in takes, effect today. And hopefully I can not be as hesitant and be a little bit more aggressive today in the rain. So we'll see how that pans out.
Aggressiveness might be the name of the game. Yeah, Ryan, go ahead.
Obviously the MX-5s are completely different cars than these Group 3 ones. Did you feel a lot of extra confidence coming into this with the rain, with the extra downforce that these cars provide? Or is the speed still, a lot to take into consideration with the rain?
No, I mean, the wet tires definitely do help. I don't know what's up with the sport tires in this game, but they don't seem to handle the rain really well. But the wets, I mean, you do have a little bit more confidence. I personally still do use traction control in the rain, at least heavy rain, like it will be today. So, that's going to help me from spinning out, I hope. We'll see how that goes in when the race actually starts. But
Tony, what about you? Same question.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a mistake or two from Moose, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean these cars and mainly the tires are definitely like way more confidence inspiring when it comes to driving in the rain compared to the sport tires or the MX-5s. But I mean, it's definitely still sketchy, and especially with the amount of rain, you can see a lot of puddles forming and standing water on some of the curbs and whatnot, and even just trying to avoid the curbs in general when they're so useful in the dry here is going to be a hard thing to adjust. But yeah, I mean, I think we're just gonna have to see what happens. I mean, honestly, I'm more concerned about the changing conditions when the track falls into nightfall and into the darkness, rather than the severity of the wet. I think that's going to be a true challenge for not just myself and Moose, but everybody. A dry line starts to form, you might say, hey, maybe I'll make an aggressive change over to, trying to run the intermediate or even, eventually moving over to a slick. And yeah, I mean, you drop a tire on a curb, you drop a tire into a wet part of the track, and you're gonna be in for some trouble. So
yeah, it's you touched on it, and it's exactly what I was thinking about was the changing conditions. And we've seen in some live racing series where drivers that maybe take a chance on getting onto slicks earlier than some of the others, they make out well for it, or other times it ends up being a disaster. Sometimes they stay out longer than they should on slicks, and then it turns into rain, and they lose a race. So
yeah, well, it's going to be interesting for even with you guys who are able to kind of see what tires we're all on. We're not able to see that unless somebody maybe catches, if they're not in VR and they're able to catch a tire change on the leaderboard on the left. But I mean, it's even going to be let's just say Moose and I are running up the Kemmel Straight, and I decided to move on to a slick tire or something, and I try to go to make a pass. It's going to be a moment to question if I want to do that, because if I move offline and it's wet, I'm potentially in for some trouble.
Yeah, putting the correct tire on at the correct time is definitely going to be crucial for this race.
Yeah, I would also imagine coming, if you're faster than everybody else, that's probably pretty crucial for us as well, right?
Yeah, it helps.
So real quick, again, I'm just going to look at the points total as well. Tony, like you said, you wouldn't mind a mistake here or there from Moose today. Moose, you got to have the race of your life today and next time in Nürburgring to take, the championship title. We were going to have Arctic in here today as well, but he had a few last minute things going on. Arctic's currently in 5th place with 99 points. Obviously, I know he was I think a bit late this year, if I remember correctly. It feels like it's been so long ago.
Yeah, not too late. I think he joined
late.
the second or third race.
Right.
Or he DNF'd the second race.
That's what it was.
And then he was good. Yeah,
right. So, and I know Winter, I don't think he's taking part in any more series, and Winter's currently in 3rd place. Gilly in 4th with 106 points. So, do you see any of those guys maybe? I don't want to say getting in the way of anything that you guys all can do, but obviously, if they qualify well or Arctic squeezes himself between you two in qualifying, he may end up playing a role in how the race turns out for you. Well, what are you going to be trying to do to maybe compensate for that factor of, outside of the two of you just driving, you have other drivers around you?
Yeah, I think that, like you said, Arctic was definitely the top choice to kind of get in between this battle for me and Tony, just because he is always in the front of the pack with us. But just with the severe rain today, I'm kind of couldn't lie. I mean, I can't lie. I'm a little bit nervous about getting punted off the track turn 1. It's always a possibility, even in the dry, so the wet will make it even worse. But if one of us just has a bad start due to bad luck or anything like that and get damage, it could cost you the race, especially when I feel like me and Tony are very close on pace, so something to look out for.
Yeah, I'd definitely agree with everything that Moose just said. I mean, everyone's having their own championship battles. I mean, Gilly's here today, Arctic's here racing today. That they're both themselves close on points. Split by 7 points, and they definitely both have the ability to take that 3rd spot for the championship. I think their contention for an overall win is a little too far out with how many points are left on hand, but everyone's going to be focused on their own fights, and I hope that they have the foresight to see who might be in front or behind and be like, hey, this is not my battle, to maybe play that game a bit more cautiously. If let's say Gilly or Arctic are in the mix with Moose and I, and the two of us are maybe out front or split by a place, or they're stuck in the middle of us, and they see one of us coming up fast on them, to just let us by rather than fighting. Like I said, it's not their fight, but
right.
I don't know. I mean, it's not everyone has a crew chief talking in their ear to give them that sort of thought process while they're in the thick of it, and we know that at the end of the day, we all won a race. So we'll have to see what happens. I mean, fingers crossed that, like what Moose said, that bad luck doesn't fall on anyone. I'm hoping that because of the rain, everyone tries to keep it fairly cautious, and that equates to everyone kind of giving each other space. But I mean, we'll just have to wait to see.
We'll have to wait and see. And I know we got about 5 minutes left of practice here, so Ryan, unless you got anything else for these two, we'll go ahead and get a few more practice laps in before qualifying starts. Appreciate you both taking the time to step in here and the cozy commentator box, as Ryan put it.
That's right. Yeah.
No,
I've got nothing else. Anything
have
else
a drink for us, because I'm sure we'll want one. Want one afterwards. But
cheers, gents.
And I'm sure after next weekend, maybe we'll have some champagne to throw around. Who knows?
Bro, I might just go outside and pop a bottle myself.
We'll need a video of that on stream if it does happen. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
But good luck today, gents. We'll be rooting for you and also criticizing you the entire time.
Well,
of course.
Wouldn't expect anything less.
All right.
Good luck.
We'll appreciate it, guys.
Later, boys.
Yep.
So there you go. A bit of conversation between our championship series leaders, Moose and Tony Cal. And again, real quick, I just want to pull up the points total. Moose does have a decent lead, but like we said earlier, man, if Tony happens to have a really strong race, Moose makes a few mistakes here and there, Tony's going to be cleaning up those points today. And I know he really needs a clean sweep this weekend as far as, qualifying point and fastest lap and getting first to really have any hopes of, I guess, taking first place from Moose. But also just notably want to check out the rest of the grid before we get on to quali. Our mid-pack, I guess midfield, has been quite strong, quite close the last few races. And I think that's probably the part of the grid where we've seen the biggest improvement, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, we look at Marino, Demon, Steezy, who is a little bit lower in the points because I believe they were a later addition to the series, but we can't forget Labu and Purple. There is a noticeable point difference if you go from Labu, who was at the first, with us from the beginning, to Steezy, but they've all been quite the racers, and it's been really, really fun to see that mid-pack especially evolve and close the gap in some races to the people in front, but just really give us some close racing, which is everything we want to see, right? Close and respectable racing. So,
absolutely.
They've got it out for them. Purple, Mr. Consistency, we talk about all the time, is up there because of their consistency. They're able to reap the rewards of others' mistakes. They might not be the fastest in pace, but they can keep it on track, right? So, looking forward to that. Labu having a return to some great form in the last couple of races. Excited to see how that goes today. It's going to be a challenging one for him. And of course, we have Marino, Demon, and Steezy, who are like the Three Stooges. I feel like they are just constantly fighting each other.
Yeah, no, agreed. They're poking each other in the eye and stuff like that. I do want to point out though, before we got quality here in just a few minutes, someone who we've missed on the grid quite a bit this season is Specs in the Jaguar. I imagine this is actually probably a pretty good track for the Jag, even though I can't stand driving that thing. I just can't get a good feel for it. Specs sounding pretty bold and confident in his ability to put times up. I know on our weekday, just for fun lobby, he came through and he was quick in everything that we ran. For someone that's seemingly able to just jump in and be able to put a decent time up on the board. Hopefully we're not cursing him right now, but I do wonder what role he might play in deciding the fate of some of these other drivers. Like we said with Tony and Moose, we were talking about Arctic and Gilly possibly, I don't say getting in the way or interfering with their battle for first place, but it's as far as like Tony was saying about maybe racing, keeping in mind like they're that's not their race or something like that. But Specs has shown up for first time in a while, really, and he just wants to do the best he can. He doesn't care about the championship really at this point, I imagine. He just wants to see whatever he can do. So it'll be interesting to see what he's able to accomplish and who he's able to make a hard time for today.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to talk about, right? Specs definitely has pace. We've seen that in the races that he has attended, and like you said, the weeknight lobbies. So Specs has got pace, and I wouldn't blame him for looking to fight up front. It's really the people like, let's just say, for example, Marino and Demon Steezy. You know, you shouldn't slow up your race to fight someone who is maybe a front runner, right? Because you're going to want to create that gap between you and the other people you're actually competing in the championship against.
Right. Well,
Marino
I'd even say
has improved. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, notably, like I think we keep thinking about Steezy as far as the MX5 season goes. He's down in 27 points. He started the MX5 series before he was able to start the manufacturer series, if I remember correctly. So he's down at 27 points. Demon with 42, Marino with 47. So even like as far as the championship goes, Steezy's fighting with Crispy for 11th, and maybe Specs for 10th.
Yeah.
Considering I don't know if Specs is going to show up next week.
Yeah, no,
but
I think the
pace-wise,
drivers-
I agree. Steezy's probably going to be up there with Demon and Moreno.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Steezy is gonna get points up. No flame against Crispy, but we know that Steezy has the pace advantage there. So Steezy just has to make the most of the points. Demon saying today's a good day to die. It's going to be a lot, that's for sure. Marino, looking forward to the good race. Good luck, everyone. Good luck indeed. The moisture meter TM has dried up, but the beginning of this practice, it was quite a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what qualifying is going to look like.
That's right. Now, Wally, I know that we do have a little intro video for.
We do not have an intro video.
You don't have it queued up?
No.
All right. Well, in that case, then we're going to be looking forward to Quali getting underway shortly, and Quali will likely be wet. Tony Cal is telling us. We shall see. Tony Cal's going to get going, and Quali is going to be exciting. I think the wet may level the playing field.
Yeah, the wet may level the playing field, and Tony Cal is mentioning a C on the other side. Good luck, friend. And Quali should be wet, is Tony saying. So will be interesting to see that. I wonder how wet it's going to be. Are we going to have guys on intermediates or wets, or what kind of strategies we'll be seeing there? Maybe start off on wets and maybe throughout the 15-minute session. Are we doing a 15-minute session today? Yes, we are for the rain. Yeah. Maybe as the track dries up, jump onto those intermediates and put up some faster lap times at the end of the session if it's dry enough. Like we said earlier, it'll be cool to see who is just gambling for tire choice. So, yeah, like I said, let's see what Quali brings us.
I will say I am not envious of these drivers driving in these conditions, both the wet and dark. As we're seeing, qualifying is going to be getting underway. The rain is coming down on Gilly's windshield. It's going to be quite a thing. Right now, the moisture meter TM is at about 3/4 full. So there's people on softs right now. I think they're going to have to make a change.
Can you make a change before you even leave? I don't know if that's the thing.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Unless it's just from
oh, no, it looks like you
practice. Can. Okay, yeah. Yeah, definitely way too wet to be going out on slicks right now. Again, we'll have to see how the dry line ends up affecting this, and of course, if the rain does let up towards the end of it. We see young Carlton behind Giller there, and young Carlton, again, someone who hasn't joined a ton of races. Fantastic looking livery in that Audi. Curious to see how they can do today.
Paddle in chat saying, Paddle, of course, our resident MX5 driver. Wife isn't home. You know what that means. A race on the big TV in the living room. Let's go, boys. Let's go indeed. Here, this should be a good-looking quality and a fun race already. Just look how wet it is out there already. If these guys weren't on wets, they'd be sliding all over the place. I'm sure we see some sliding already as Carlton gets the rear end out on that Audi. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. This is we have a 15-minute session. I don't obviously see, I think, purple backwards on the wrong side of the road there.
That was indeed
in the
purple,
grass.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is I wonder is there a point? I mean, maybe you don't want to get one lap in, get that anchor lap in, and then do you pull do you just sit in the pits and maybe wait for some of the rain to let up, if it's going to let up at all?
I don't think so because them driving on the track, you first of all, you only have 15 minutes, and this is going to be a long lap, especially in the rain, right? But the more you're out there, the more you can help that dry line appear. I think it would be, unless you get a stellar of a lap, I don't think you should just throw to the pits after one lap.
No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see how fast the conditions do change. But no, I agree. I would probably just try to run a few laps out there and see what sticks. I feel like you said 15 minutes is not a lot of time, especially in the rain. I'm sure these laps are going to be, I don't know, close to 3 minutes?
Close to 3 minutes, I would imagine.
I would imagine with the rain.
Yeah. So it's again, it's going to be a long, stressful laps. I mean, and race most likely again until the rain starts letting up. I did
actually, we're just seeing their LF was a 2:32, so maybe not quite 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 2:45, depending how wet it is and how brave you are, right? Obviously, with the rain, you have to brake earlier than usual. It's going to slow down your minimum speed and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to say, these drivers, man, they're just going to be on their toes the entire time. I did like half a lap in the rain during practice, and even with full wets, it was just not a great time.
No, well, we did hear Moose mention about driving in with traction control on as well. I wonder, obviously it depends on the car a little bit as well and driver input, but I do wonder how many of them are going to be driving with TC on and how strong. Obviously, with the rain, it will help a bit, but I'm also curious about how these guys are taking, why can't I think of the turn name?
I don't know.
The uphill right-hander.
Oh, yes, yeah. Eroge?
Yep.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I couldn't do it flat out, and that's expected, even with the full wets. I would not be surprised if you're going to have to lift a little bit to keep it in the track limits.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. So, realistically, there's a few technical parts of this track, but for the most part, it's pretty open. I would say you have the bit after the back straight, right where it gets a bit slow. Like that's probably the slower part of the track, and then of course you do have the chicane before the start finish line. That will probably be the slowest parts of the track, and that chicane is already slow. Like I'm sure some guys might even be in first gear for that turn, especially in the rain for sure. I would be surprised, but maybe an early upshift for a bit of traction on the way out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. And going back to the traction control thing real quick, again, I'm not a great racer, but I had traction control on 1 in the Gr.3 car around here real quick, and it just, you still have to be very gentle on the throttle in these super wet conditions. So if Moose is driving with TC on, I wouldn't be surprised to see others driving with it on.
No, I wouldn't be. We are seeing, it doesn't feel like a hot lap, but these guys are on their first, real laps of the race here. And let's see, Rambo with Moose says he's going to be going across the start-finish line. I don't know. He had a 226, a 245. Tony Kale's going to be coming across the line here as well. Let's see where he's going to be at. A 248.9. Demon looks like he's carrying a bit more speed, but not quite as fast as a 250. Arctic gets squirrely on the outside, on the exit of the chicane. Let's see where he ends up at 248. So he's splitting Moose and Tony at the moment. Steezy Nick's going up to third place, bumping Tony Cal down. I know that's definitely not a representative left from Tony Cal. He's definitely going to have more pace, and he's going to have to show it. But Gilly, we talked about him in the in our interviews, quote unquote, with Moose and Tony Cal. Gilly now going off at T1, but notably up to second place. No, 2 seconds behind Moose.
Yeah, Moose had a great lap, it looks like. Man said he put in a lot of practice, considering we saw how apprehensive he was in the rain at our MX-5 race last week. So maybe that practice is paying off. We'll have to see. Obviously, can't count Tony Cal out just yet. Arctic, we definitely can't count out just yet. It's funny. I'm trying to remember what Arctic said he wouldn't be too fast in, and then he went in and just blew everyone away. So
You mean the classic sandbag? Yeah.
yeah, exactly right. The classic sandbag. We'll see how his car treats him today, though, and everyone's getting squirrely here or there. You talked about the slowest parts of the track, and those may very well be the best overtaking points, considering who's going to be more brave on the brakes.
Yeah, but I'd say, I mean, especially with the rain, it's just how brave are you, but at the same time, are you stupid brave to the point where you can be running into someone or, sending yourself off the track and everything like that. We'll have to see. I'm curious to see what the beginning of this race is going to look like.
Yeah, people are going to have to be very cautious going into turn one. That is a place that can get quite dangerous depending on how tight people, how many cars wide, but how tight people decide to take that turn. There's a few lines I see people try to take around there. One might be a wider line, one might be much closer and tight to the apex. I think it all depends, obviously, on your car, your driving style, the conditions. I don't know what is the best way, personally. I do like taking a tighter apex, but that's just me, and who knows, it may or may not be the best. But again, with the rain, man, you're going to have to be early on the brakes there to make that tight apex.
It's not something that we touched on in the talks with Moose and Tony, but I do wonder, actually, and as these guys are going to be crossing the line again, 244.8 from Moose.
Tony Cal crawling around that chicane, heading into the pits, actually.
Ooh, are we going to see? All right, we're not going to keep an eye on him in the pits, but I'm interested. Gilly going wide, so I don't think that's going to be a good lap for him. Even up to fourth with a 248 and change. Not a bad lap from him. Arctic also going in the pits. Well, it looks like these guys need gas as well. They need some fuel.
Yeah, that's for sure. You're going to be burning it up, and it's just going to be a long race today for them, unfortunately.
Yeah, Gilly going in the pits. What can we jump on with? Marino putting up a 246. Comes up to second place.
Wow.
Now, that's a good lap from Marino. Is that... I don't want to sound like these guys, but is that track evolution? Is that track evolution? Is that it doesn't look that much drier out there, so I don't know.
It is, according to the moist meter TM, it is dried up a little bit. Before it was 3/4 wet. It's just it's slightly below that now. So again, it is getting slightly drier, but it's probably confidence more than anything, right? Getting into the groove. Got to take a quick point, as he didn't send me any cash for it, so that's a little upsetting. But take a look at Marino's Jägermeister livery. I'm loving the.
Oh, I like the honeycomb. Kind of like
the honeycomb.
Benrick and chat. What's going on, my guy?
Now, I believe Demon, the other Porsche driver, is also driving with a Jägermeister, as he is there. Yep, driving.
Very nice.
Jägermeister livery. Yeah, two different looks, but both repping Porsche, both repping Jägermeister. Not my drink of choice for sure.
It's purple putting up a 251. It's I like the fact that they've changed it up a bit though. They it's almost like a Halloween themed Jägermeister. Black and orange. I like it. And this is exciting too. I wonder next season. Of course, we're talking about having team drivers. And obviously these two taking a bit of inspiration from each other and maybe trying to go that way a little bit early. Pumpkin Spice Jaegers has been Rick.
Man, if I've never wanted to throw up from Jaeger before, that might do it. And I have thrown up from Jaeger before.
Definitely would do it.
Notably, those people that did come into the pits, as expected, they came in and swapped to intermediates. Definitely going to get more pace as the track is drying. I'm on board with Tony Cal right now. And the rain or the moistness of the track has come down and continues to come down as he's driving around it. The thing about Spa, if you're not familiar with it, what did Moose just put in? A 242.8.
And he has yet to pit. Can you see what his gas is looking like, his fuel?
Yeah, no, he's quite low. He's got one more lap on him, and he's on the full wets still. So he's got even more pace in him. I'm sure he's just going to run this tank and go in and refuel a bit and throw on intermediates as the track is drying up, I should say. And I can't blame him with that strategy. Run the full wets for as long as you can, as we see Steezy coming to the pits, likely fueling up and going intermediates. But run the full wets as long as you can. They still have a few more minutes, so he'll be able to make a pit stop and maybe have... it's going to be tight, though, actually. It's going to be quite tight.
Hold on, we just got to say, Demon took second place away from Gilly. But now Marino is taking pole position away from Moose, going almost half a second faster than Mooseman.
That's right. He's got those intermediates on and a low fuel load. This is probably going to be it for Marino. He doesn't have enough fuel to do another flyer, so he'll have to pit at the end of this lap.
Yeah,
that's amazing to see. Yeah.
I mean, hey, we talk about, rain being an equalizer and, maybe spicing things up here. Like Pato said, it's going to be a spicy race. That's exactly what it's looking like. Tony Cowling on the other hand. Let's jump on the board with this man. You said he's on intermediates, right?
That is correct.
So he needs to be putting in the lap of a lifetime right now. He can't have any mistakes. He also, notably, as Marino's in front of him, cannot be having anyone hold him up as Tony Cal puts in the purple sector. Crispy Dubbins with a 239.5, currently holding the fastest lap now. But
man, he's in a Tide Pod livery and cleaning it up, apparently. Holy crap. Crispy, what a lap.
He is, this track is drying up. We see Purple putting on 241, now at second place. So all of a sudden here, now, we said it at the beginning of the session, how is this track going to look at the end of this 15 minutes? We are at 12:45, so we have about a lap left.
Tony get it squirrely right there.
Yeah,
but you definitely see a dry line opening up. Purple put in that lap time on full wet still, notably.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're about to see some way quicker laps from the people on intermediates.
Look how dry it looks already since it stopped raining.
That's what I mean.
I mean, wow, Tony. Does anyone gamble for the soft?
You don't have time.
I guess, yeah. Well, once they're in the pit right now. Well,
yeah,
they would have
it doesn't
had the
look
pit
like
already.
anyone
Yeah.
is.
Tony's gonna have to have a very quick lap, and kudos to Marino. Looked like he did move out of the way. Moose with a 237.5. This might be Moose's detriment, man. He might be he's now in the pits, but it's not enough time.
I don't know that that's legal. You can't enter the pits from. He just crossed the line because he was running out of fuel. I thought it was against the rules to jump into the pits via the screen. Am I wrong?
I'm not too sure. Again, first time happens. First time for everything, I suppose. But let's see Tony Cal cross this line real quick, and then maybe we'll cross that bridge. Tony Cal with a 229.8.
And that is much more like it, as we expected. The track evolution plus the intermediate tire is really coming into play there.
What do you know? Is Arctic on intermediates?
I'm checking. We are checking. Arctic is on intermediates with a much higher fuel load, though. They're gonna have to. Hopefully, this lap is gonna count for them. Gilly up to P2, Specs up to P3. Moose, maybe that gamble not working out for them.
Yeah, Moose may be upset with his decision, and this may be exactly what Tony Cal needs. Crispy with a 233. Let's see what Arctic is able to do on these intermediates. We have 10 seconds left to quali. This will be his final lap, and Arctic crossing the line does not improve. That was an out lap for him, I guess. Wow.
Man, I don't know. Did he cross the line in time though?
Yeah, I think he's on a final flyer. So.
Yeah, wow, he just got over that line at the perfect time. He's gonna have to make this lap count real hard.
Yeah,
he's gonna be pushing.
Unfortunate for Marino to be putting up such a great lap, but now because of track evolution and track drying up, down to P8 currently. Tony Cal holding provisional pole still. Almost 2 seconds ahead of Dave Gilly. You know what's wild? Carlton up in 5th. Crispy up in 4th. Making the right call at the right time.
That's right. Notably, I just pull up our rules and regulations.
Thank you. I was trying
Qualifying procedures. You're not allowed to reset to the pits. The game will not let you pause to exit. If you need to make a setup change, you can utilize the pause menu only if you are within the pit lane entry and exit lanes. Resetting the pits will result in a disqualification from qualifying. We're going to need clarification on that, definitely from Tony Callan. The man wasn't, Moose, you couldn't cross the line and then go to the pits, and it looked exactly like that because all of a sudden they put in fastest lap, and then they were in the pits.
Yeah. That will be interesting to see, I suppose. Let's where was Arctic? We'll have to bring that up to Tony real quick. Before Arctic's got a penalty. It's in the dark. Tony Cal putting up a new fastest lap of 2:28. Arctic not gonna be able to make it. I don't know if he's gonna be going any faster now with this penalty. It's in the dark. You suddenly start missing your braking points and your turning points. And this is when we saw it starting to go dark. I thought about this, and someone was off the dry line in front of him as well, putting some spray up. Be sure to, if you can, message Tony Cal real quick. Gilly picking up his best lap of 2:28.6, much closer to Tony Cal though. Specs pitting up 2:30, about 2 seconds off of Gilly in second place. Let's see, Mr. Wabu putting up a 2:34, putting him in 6th position for now. Tony saying I ran out of fuel out of the final corner.
Oh, that is brutal.
Yeah, this track is looking pretty brutal with fuel. Young Carlton taking 2nd place away from Gilly in 3rd, and now up to 2nd place, right behind Tony. That is a great lap by Carlton.
Coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, he was up in 5th, and someone who we haven't gotten to see put in any fast laps. Arctic, notably, even with that penalty, up to 4th place.
Yeah, Arctic, man, was able to make the most of that final lap and had got the track at its driest. We'll see how it plays out for them down in P4, but we know Arctic is not afraid to get their elbows out.
Absolutely.
That would have been a pole without the penalty. All right, Arctic says.
Yeah, I'm sure. Notably, though, I mean, kudos to Crispy Nubbins, man. That 6 is his best qualifying performance yet, and definitely made the right call at the right time as far as those tires go.
That's exactly right. People really reaping from choosing those right tires, getting around. Moose all the way down to P9. That is brutal, and he's got
rough.
quite the race. Marino, who was on pole, provisional pole, I should say, had a work call apparently and had to dive into the pits, so they didn't get to put in any other times.
That is unfortunate as well. And then behind him, Demon and Steezy, man. Steezy's usually mid, but now it's Steezy. He's even worse than that.
Oh, Steezy just living up to his midness.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have to give it to Moose for staying on wet, I think, the entire time. That's definitely a call to make, and obviously, like, you don't know what it's going to look like at the end of the session.
That's exactly right. I mean, they were trying to run, I think, as far as they could, and just made the wrong choice. And we said that literally in the interview. It's going to come down to your decision to come on the change tires, I should say, at the right moment, and it could make or break your qualifying, as we've seen again in F1 and other races. And it obviously made it broke his qualifying here.
Yeah, it did, unfortunately for him, and he's got the pace. Obviously, we know that, to be able to make it up in the race. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a few mishaps here and there with the rain. So hopefully he's able to make a better judgment call in the race and make those required compound changes when it best suits the track and himself. Marino in chat saying those that were able to stay out when it dried got faster times. I'm not worried. Well, man, if you're not worried, I'm not worried. And it'll be interesting to see how you guys. You, Demon, and Steezy are all in the back of the grid right now. But I'm sure you guys are going to be moving up real quick. And you got Mooseman in front of you. If you can hang with Moose and kind of benefit from his slipstream and maybe making some gaps in the guys ahead of him, then you guys may very well have a good race on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the wet, too, we saw obviously Marino is able to pump out some pace. So may it work out, maybe even get ahead of Moose, depending on how confident they're both feeling.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. We are going to be starting the race here in just a few moments. Notably, it is wet for the start of this race, so caution to all the drivers out there. It's going to be a tough start, and we always make note of it with these grid starts, right? About the drivers practicing their different grid positions and their braking points. But now, when you throw the rain into the mix as well, it's a whole nother, circumstance to really be thinking about. Mr. Labu in chat saying, wet, wet, I'm so wet. Are we in a hot tub stream or what?
I think so, or a Russian bathhouse. I don't know. It is going to be quite damp out there, though, today. Again, like I said before, I am not jealous of these drivers doing this race right now. I don't mind a little bit of challenging, races, especially with a little bit of rain, but this is looking like a lot of rain at the race start. And again, that could play into people's hands very well.
Winter Stain made the worst man win. What happened to Moose? Washed up for sure. Moose just stayed out on wets the entire time for qualifying. We had a 15-minute quali, and I think he was saying he didn't look at the radar or messed up looking at the radar, and thought maybe there was more rain to come, so he stayed out on the wets. And you know what, though? That's exactly what Tony Cal's going to want as today's. Before we get into it, we'll jump back on the points. Wrong one. Sorry, guys. And please finish P9. Tony. This is not updated for the pole position, but Tony did take fastest lap, so he'll be getting an additional point.
No, he took pole position, not fastest lap.
Right. Is that what he said?
No, he said the opposite.
Whatever. Anyway. So 122 to Tony, and I believe, and 137 for Moose. So, listen, man, Moose has got his work cut out for him today, and Tony Cal is happy to see all those cars between him and Moose.
That's for damn sure. Tony Cal going to try to run and get away. Obviously, Carlton's got some pace. We're going to see how this race start goes in a moment here. Tony Cal saying that we're starting soon. I'm very excited for this race. Hopefully it's a clean one, but a close one as well. But again, one mistake, man, and it could ruin your race.
One mistake, yeah. One mistake and, ruin your race, and you'll be starting back from the end of the grid, just like Steezy is now.
If only he wasn't so mid.
We will be getting underway here at Spa-Francorchamps Spa in the rain here in just a few moments, though. Again, like we said earlier with Tony Cal and Moose, naming the game is going to be strategy and being able to read that radar. Something you don't always see in these races because we never have rain. But to be able to make that choice as to when to pit for those tires, it's going to be massive for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the room may be changing.
Will begin.
Either my PS5 froze or what?
The race is getting underway. It looks like 0 seconds until it starts.
I think OBS may have frozen.
I'm curious to see what's going on. Yeah, so yours looks frozen. Tony Cal, on the other hand, it says 0 seconds. And it says you've left the room, Wally.
Alrighty. Well then, folks, are we still streaming? I'm sure we're streaming. Is it a blank screen?
It is frozen.
Come on, man. Alrighty.
Well,
my game crashed.
I can report for everyone that's going to be a thing. The lights are out and we are underway around Circuit de Spa. I will describe everything that's going on right now. They're coming down to turn one. Tony Cal, actually, young Carlton ahead of Tony Cal. Tony Cal had a terrible start. They're going up around Eau Rouge right now. So far, so good. It's all clean. And, the spray is enormous. The moisture meter is at 3/4 full. Slightly less wet than it was at the start of qualifying. We'll have to see how it goes and how it dries up. We have 38 laps around here. It's going to be quite the race, like we said. And they're coming down to the bus stop now. Arctic up into P2 already. Tony Cal down to P3. Specs to P4. And some people getting a little bit sloppy at the bus stop. Understandably so. They're missing their braking points. Young Carlton, though, has Arctic right up behind him. Tony Cal, followed by Giller. There's not enough space yet for anyone. But yeah, this rain is not treating some people well. Crispy, unfortunately, having a bad moment down on P12 already. Specs had a moment as well down into P5. Mr. Labu having a look on the outside. This is a tough place to take on the outside. I don't think it's going to stick. They had to relegate it back. looks like Wally's is joining the room shortly, as you do see on stream. Specs having a run on Moose. Moose up to P6 already. P5 just got past Specs. This is looking really great for Moose already, making up quite a few places. Young Carlton still leading the pack. Arctic not giving up. Tony Cal notably a little bit further back from Arctic than he'd like to be. Definitely got to put in some work, Tony, to make up that space because Moose is on the charge.
Come on, man. With this game crashing, everything else. Good job for the, as Winter said, we're back to radio glory days.
That's exactly right.
Come on, man.
That is a brutal way to start the stream, and I guess I'm not the only one that missed a race to start, huh?
Yeah, well, at least this one wasn't my. Oh, Young Carlton goes into the barrier and is in the grass, spins around, is able to kind of recover, I guess. But is now down to 4th, down to 5th. Is Steezy's gonna be? Steezy's up to 6th. Man, Steezy's living up to that mid status. Great recovery there on the stream. I'm glad things were able to work out. Specs down to 7th. It looks like he's trying to gain there on Young Carlton. Carlton probably has damage, is going very slowly. And is not having a good time. Look at these guys going through here, pressed into the chicane, and that's definitely not something you want. You want to kind of fall into line. Here's is Young Carlton going to be pitting for damages? Is he going to stay out? It looks like he's going to stay out.
They're staying out.
And look at this.
And we have so much traffic there at the chicane. Holy crap!
Yeah.
They're just crawling past there, and understandably so with the wet. It's still 3/4 wet. The rain has not slowed down, and they might still get a dry line after a few laps, but they're gonna have to work for it. Arctic trying to create a gap up front. It looks like.
Are you able to see if
watching these three
Carlton has any damage?
Carlton does have damage on the front and front right. I don't know if Tony Cal put the damage on light, but I imagine it would have taken care of itself.
I think he.
I'm waiting for it to heal up.
I could be wrong. We talk about it for Nürburgring for next.
Yes.
All right, so let's see here. What is going on with this timing board? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I'm seeing Arctic in P1, Giller in P2.
My timing board is all screwed up right now. It keeps sending Arctic down to the bottom and then back up.
I don't know. Your PS5 is not having a good time, but Giller up to P2, coming out of nowhere though. Tony Cal down to P3 still, and Moose all the way out to P4. Tony Cal not able to capitalize on Moose's terrible qualifying.
Yeah, good job by Moose, I guess, to avoid any of the carnage that may have happened in the first couple of turns that we didn't see the first couple of laps. Wait, my lap count is off now as well. Excellent.
Yeah, I agree, Winter. Yeah, some weird, I guess maybe server lag or something there. The blue flag's showing up out of nowhere, like you said.
Yeah, very
Hopefully
weird
all
stuff
is stable
going on.
now. Again, we see that sometimes with our, we are Intercontinental, so.
Oh, I think it might be something to do with on the server side.
Yeah, me too.
But regardless, we are racing, thankfully, and we're back in here. Let's jump down. So we have Tony Cal in 3rd, Moose in 4th, Labu in 5th, kind of in no man's land at the moment. I mean, he's got Steezy behind him, but that's a nice new livery by Labu. The BK livery.
The BK. Notably, we're talking about Tony Cal struggling. Tony Cal gambled, and he's on the intermediates.
That is a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, I think everyone else is on full wets. So no wonder he's struggling right now. Maybe trying to gamble and have the pace and be able to, keep up. Some weird. Okay.
No, Tony bumped rear-ended Moose, and Moose went down, went deep in the chicane, and the game
and then reset him.
Unfortunately. So Tony's gonna be giving that position back to Moose, as a gentleman should.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for both of them, though, that's going to be putting them further back from Gilly and Arctic ahead of them. And I guess Tony is nice and he's close behind Moose now. He's maybe able to get a tow through the spray and through the dirty air. I'm not too sure. Obviously, I mean, I wouldn't want to be too close behind someone going up Eau Rouge, but he's able to stick with him for now. But you're right, those intermediates do not look like they're working out too well for Tony Cal. As we see, Gilly has spun around
Gilly
at the top of Eau Rouge, and he is now down to 4th place. A lot of them may be coming to clean up 4th place. He does take 4th place away from Gilly. Specs is now in 5th place. Gilly, wait,
down to P12 after reset him.
Yeah, well, we said today it was going to be spicy, and indeed it has been spicy.
It's a shame. I didn't even get to streamer or caster curse Gilly. I was going to say he's having a hell of a race after not attending a couple of them. But again, anything can happen. It looks like the rain maybe, or a dry line is slowly forming as I'm noticing it on the moisture meter TM. Slightly coming off. But those intermediates from Tony Cal are going to take some time, I think, to really come into effect. Still in P3, which is great, but he's going to have to stay within a pit stop of Arctic, who is now 4.5 seconds ahead of Mooseman.
Yeah, I wonder just how long the rain's going to be like this, where the full wets are the better tire, and also you got to think about the wear, right? I mean, why would you not go on full wets when I think he's probably going to have to pit for fuel sooner than the tire would give out?
Yeah, his tires are still perfect. Notably, I just wanted to bring up the only other person on intermediates right now Crispy, I should say, who we have seen struggling a little bit. So Tony Cal's not the only one. Crispy down to P11 currently, but sticking with the pack, again, maybe the fact that it's slowly drying up is helping him out here. But the gap between Arctic and Moose is closing up a little bit, slowly but surely, which likely means the gap between Tony Cal and Moose is opening up. Definitely not to Tony Cal's liking.
No, Moose is could be really happy with the way that his day has been going. Well, his race at least has been going so far. Definitely not happy about quality, but it is what it is. Especially when you can make up a few positions in the first couple of laps here, like he has done so. Yeah, Tony Cal getting squirrely on the exit of the final turn, the final chicane of the lap. And notably, if we jump on board with Tony Cal, see what kind of lap times he's putting up. A 2:52 and a 2:50. If you look at Mooseman with full wets, man, 2:50 followed by a 2:47.
Yeah, so what is that? 3 to 5 second difference?
Right now? Yeah, about 3 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Now, for everyone watching the stream, Wally has turned up the exposure in-game a little bit to make it easier to see. It is dark. I didn't turn it up on my end. It is dark right now.
Yeah.
So take that into account as these people are driving around. There's no track lights. They've got their headlights, or there's not track lights for the most of the track, I should say. Maybe Tony Cal regretting those yellow headlights. Moose too. I'd rather something a bit brighter for this right now.
So let's see. We still have quite the fight going on in the mid pack right now. Midfield, I should say. These guys are all still really close together. It's really anybody's game still. I am curious to see. What's your lap counter saying, by the way?
We're at 4 out of 38.
Okay, so I think mine's caught up now, which is good. Who is it? Who is stuck in the way back?
That is Gilly. He went to the pits to repair some damage and fuel up, it looks like. They're still on full wets, and I hope that doesn't bite them in the ass. They could have taken the chance maybe to go on intermediates, but it is still quite wet, especially in the pit lane. Obviously, they're not driving there. I think maybe the full wets were still a good choice. Obviously, depends where they are on the track, of course, but the lowest I'm seeing is about halfway wet.
Yeah, it seems like maybe it's still a good choice for him to be on the full wets. Obviously, being that far back now, I don't want to say his race is over. It's Gilly. We've seen worse happen before, I think, but he's definitely got some ground to make up, and it might have just been too much of a gamble to get onto the intermediates too soon.
For sure. Speaking of making up ground, Moose is putting in work right now. The gap to Arctic is just over a second now. That practice is definitely paying off.
Yeah, Moose wanted to go into this weekend knowing that he was one of the fastest cars on the track, and it seems that he definitely is proving that right now as well. Notably, almost 5 seconds ahead of Tony Cal in third. Tony waiting for the intermediates to start showing up.
Yeah,
maybe another couple laps.
They might be. Tony Cal might be on a fuel saving strategy currently. Waiting for the track to dry up some more, so he can take full advantage of the intermediates pace. we will have to see. Notably, Moose put up a 243.3. Tony Cal just put up a 244.2. So that is much closer than we've seen previously. And the track is definitely drying up. I'm watching the moisture meter for them. It is coming down as they're driving around. It looks like the rain has stopped. So we shall see if this is going to play into Tony Cal's hands. I'm really curious to see what the next track times are going to be.
Well,
I'm going to keep an eye on the gap.
Yeah, I mean, look at this gap already. It's down to 3.5 seconds from 4.5 just a little while ago.
That's exactly
Tony
right.
Cal
Tony Cal
is catching up.
That's right.
Look at that, 3 seconds up Eau Rouge. And
Yeah,
that
that's
time is
wild.
coming down. Maybe this was the play. This was a bold strategy.
Definitely a bold strategy. He had to know that he was able to keep up, and thankfully he did. Just have to hope that the others don't find any pace suddenly.
You know, I don't think he was anticipating Moose being up in second place by this point in the race already either. So I wonder how much, if this qualifying was different, I wonder if he would have stuck on the wets for the first few laps, or if he still would have gone intermediates. He did say he was going to be aggressive, but
he did say that. Yeah, he knows he's got nothing to lose, and it looks like any fuel saving he might have had is no longer occurring as I'm watching the fuel just be drained away. That gap coming down now, just over 2.25 seconds.
no. If you're Moose or Arctic, are you going to pit sooner than later?
I think you have to.
And if you're Tony Cal, do you pit with them?
I would.
Yeah, I think so too. Which is unfortunate that his game up for the intermediates to start off with haven't really worked out in his favor.
Well, you know what, though? Maybe not. Because he's going to have more pace on those intermediates than they are on the wets, and he could get another lap. You know, not like the slicks are going to be an option right now. The track is still about a third wet.
That's fair enough.
So the intermediates are still a really good choice, and he could make up a lot of time and then pit afterwards going for the overcut, right?
Yeah.
So curious to see as they are slowly but surely coming around to the last chicane here.
Well,
the gap now 2 seconds.
We're gonna stick on these guys until they cross the decide if they're gonna pit or not. It looks like they are staying out, so we'll keep our eye on the time difference, the delta. It looks like Tony Cal within that 2 second gap to Moose, and he is gonna be taking that fastest lap with a 2:31, 2 seconds ahead of Moose's last lap. We'll jump back with our midfield real quick to see how these guys are holding out. Wabu up to 4th, Specs in 5th, Steezy in 6th. Young Carlton looks like they just took Marino for 7th. The trading places actually looks like Young Carlton is
actually, it looks like we have
down.
a couple people coming to the pits. We have Young Carlton coming in, Demon in the pits as well. Likely switching over to intermediates or taking a gamble on slicks. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I would be surprised to see if they're. I don't know. I mean, just based off of how long it took the intermediates to really come into play, I don't know if jumping on slicks at this point. Maybe in a few more laps.
I agree. I don't think it's time just yet. It still is sitting around a third wet for most of the track, or at least where Tony Cal is. Nobody where Specs is, though. It's about halfway the wet, so
yeah, I think
maybe he was just off the dry line.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. But I think if it's still a little bit wet, you're probably better off. Sticking to the intermediates.
Yeah. Notably, Giller actually did. Sorry, it's really hard to tell from the distance the difference between I am and a W. But Giller, when he came out on the pits, is on the intermediates.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Wabu looking like he's got himself in a very nice position for 4th place, though.
Oh, we see it, Wally. We see both Young Carlton and Demon taking the gamble on the racing softs.
Woo!
This could get spicy indeed. They're in the pit exit lane, and it is so wet right now. They got to be careful before they get onto the dry racing line.
All right, we'll jump back with those two. Oh, Demon's in the walls.
Oh, Demon! Sent it too soon.
Sent it a little too soon. Young Carlton, on the other hand, has made it up, and he is going through the bus stop. Looks like he's doing A-okay so far. We're curious to see when he comes up to this breaking point here, what his car is looking like. It's getting dark out now, man. It's this is going to be streaming. You're in for a treat here with this nighttime racing. Carlton looks like he has control over his Audi, and is looking pretty good. It looks like that dry line is looking pretty friendly to him.
Holy, I was going to call it before. I thought that Tony Cal was going to be caught up to them. Tony Cal taking P1 around the chicane at the end of the lap. Holy crap, what a catch-up he just did.
He had a fantastic last couple of laps, putting in a 2:29.2. He passed Arctic before the chicane, it looked like, or just leading up to it.
Just at the chicane.
Maybe braver on the brakes.
That was exactly right. He was braver on the brakes and then overtook both of them because of his greater grip, I think. And the wears slowly started to show up in these wets and intermediates only because the track is drying out more and more. Moose coming to the pits after being passed. I don't know if that was a last-minute decision or not, but Moose likely going to be swapping over to slicks if I had to guess.
Moose had to have known that the track was drying. I mean, he's on VR, so maybe he wasn't seeing the times come down. We're able to see on the left-hand side of your screen. But he was for sure able to see Tony Cal in his rearview mirror.
That's for sure. I mean, once Tony Cal got a double overtake around a couple of the other fastest drivers of the league, I mean, come on.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what Moose comes out on. Arctic's still holding out. He's on the full wet still. Labu as well still on the full wets. Up to third. He's got third position right now. But he does have a penalty, and it looks like that gap to Specs has closed down considerably. I imagine Labu must have had a moment because it was like 5 seconds, I think. And now that gap to Arctic is also increased considerably. So he must have had a moment allowing Specs to catch back up to him. And Specs looking pretty racy around here for someone, again, who doesn't play the game. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's for sure. Notably, young Carlton had a spin out at the end of the lap, I believe. On their racing softs again, maybe just hit that wet line, but we're seeing more and more people swap over to the slicks, I think. Yep, we have Moose on the racing softs, Steezy on the racing mediums, young Carlton still on the softs, Demon having to come back into the pits because of damage on both his front and rear end. That is not going to play into his race very well whatsoever.
He's going to have a long race ahead, unfortunately for him. We're on board with Mooseman right now, who's got on the softs. He's on his out lap. Curious to see what kind of times we're going to be putting up here. Also wondering about Tony Cal. When is he going to pit? Obviously, the interiors have done well for him to be able to make up that point, and he's got Moose, quite a ways behind him. But does he feel it's time for softs, or is he going to wait? Looks like he's going to wait. Arctic, is he going to pit? Arctic, it does end up not pitting.
I wonder if Arctic is trying to use any toe that they can get from Tony Cal currently to increase the gap.
Yeah, but he's 30 seconds behind. I don't know any kind of toe he's getting.
Yeah, exactly right. I have to agree. I was going to say, Tony Cal has just over a third of tank of fuel left, and his rear tires are about a quarter dead, so he may just be trying to push it a little bit longer while the track is still a little bit wet here and there. It's about a quarter wet, so definitely time for the slicks to be coming into play shortly. But with that being said, you put one toe at a line on slicks on a wet track, and it spells disaster.
Yeah, we know just how easy it is to, and he's still putting up purple sectors, so obviously those intermediates aren't too far gone yet, and we know that, like you said, how easy it is to you put one toe out of line on the not so dry part of the track on the slicks, and you're in danger. Also, notably, this is a big track. It covers a lot of ground. One part of the track could be drier, more dry than the other, so to hold on to the intermediates for a little while longer while you have the gas, I'd say use up that fuel, use up the tire, and hopefully as we go throughout this night, we are seeing a yellow flag on the track. I don't know where exactly.
Looks like, who was that?
We're looking for any cars.
Demon again in the wall.
Is not having a good time at all.
Straight up not having a good time.
Oh,
unfortunately, again, they already pit to fix their car. They're spinning again as they try to make their way out of the runoff.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you hate to see, man. He's in for a long race. A little bit too much Jaeger, indeed. And I'm sure he's not feeling good about this race right now.
That's for sure. Down into P3 and P4, Specs in P3, Marino right behind him in P4.
Marino having a good run here.
A great run. Great run.
Looks like both
their tires
Labu.
are looking shot. Yeah, they both flew by Labu. Again, could have had a moment or just pure pace. The Burger King maybe not treated his car too well, weighing him down. I know it weighs me down sometimes. But we're going to start seeing...
Sorry, go
ahead. I was going to say these wets are really not in a good place. Tony Cal coming to the pits finally. Arctic staying out once more. I cannot believe this man staying out. The track is so dry. That's bold. He's going to try to push real hard right now.
I mean, I guess when you gotta say track position is worth something to this man, and oh man, we're seeing blue flags for Demon. Demon spins out. Specs narrowly avoids him, goes into the pits. Marino decides to stay out, stick it out for another lap. It looks like Demon got onto the curb a little bit soon, and that's what spun him out. Arctic, I guess, is taking track position, and there are still some moist parts of the track, so he's got to be saying, well, I've got these wets on. I don't want to swap to softs just yet, but it would be a waste of my time to swap to intermediates. What's his gas looking like? What's his fuel looking like?
Arctic right now has just under a third of tank, so looking fine, just fine there. Probably obviously not able to push quite as hard, so the fuel isn't as much of a problem in the wet conditions. But those wets surprisingly look much better than a lot of other people's, I gotta say.
Interesting. Might be a setup thing or what? Because I remember Specs being in that car at the beginning of the season, right? And it felt like his tires were just being eaten up.
Yeah, again, and we've discussed maybe. Actually, sometimes caring for your tires and controller, I think, is more difficult than a wheel. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Marino, for example, still on the full wets, and their rear tires are shot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Notably,
so
though,
I wouldn't be surprised if they come to the pit soon.
Yeah, Moose is on those softs, and he's 7 seconds faster than Arctic right now per lap.
Yeah, I think Arctic made a mistake staying out there. Probably wanted to make the most of their fuel load, but I don't know, man. If Moose is going to be, up to P3 currently and just gaining as he's having to run a Moreno down to the last chicane. I'm sorry, not the last chicane. But having to run a Moreno and getting past him quite easily. Maybe Marino knows that's not his fight or what, but...
Well, Marino being on the wets as well. I mean, he doesn't have much tire left.
Yeah.
Moose is on the softs, Moose made that look easy because it was easy, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Nothing against Marino, but when you're in that kind of tire disadvantage, it's only a matter of time. I imagine Marino's going to be pitting this lap, and
yeah, I think so.
Notably, it is a very long pit. As all the guys were saying this entire week leading up to the race, that's just how long the pit feels. Crispy currently up to 6th position. I imagine
Tony Cal just got past
Tony
him.
Cal just passed him. I imagine he's not pit much at all. Right?
They're on the intermediate still from the beginning. We know Crispy likes to run as long as possible with that fuel, but he's going to have to pit for slicks.
Yeah, I'm sure if he's going to want to keep any sort of position or keep any sort of competitiveness, he's going to need those slicks sooner than later.
That's
as
exactly
we do see
right.
Marino pitting with very little fuel left in his tank.
Yep, the same goes for Arctic, who's going to have to pit sooner rather than later. They are low on fuel. So this is definitely where they're coming around the bus stop now. They're going to be pitting at the end of this lap, I'm sure. And we're going to see everyone coming in.
Yeah.
Anyone coming in that pits now is going to be swapping to slicks.
We'll be curious to see the time. I mean, Arctic had about 28 seconds when Marino was in second place. Moose, on the other hand, has that time down to 25 seconds.
Oh, Moose!
Never mind.
Spins around.
I take that back. I cursed him.
You definitely did curse him.
Tony Cal's going to pass Moose for second place, and Moose is crawling as he tries to regain the track. Crispy Nubbin's right behind. Moose does not want to put him in a dangerous spot. Unfortunate for Moose. I'm sure he's got damage after that impact.
Absolutely. Rear damage and not helping his tires either. That is deeply upsetting, but like we said, one toe out of line, man. Doesn't matter if the racing line is drying up. It's still a bit much.
I mean,
Specs going wide around Eau Rouge. He's on the softs, got wet, getting a little bit squirrely. I'm just sorry. I'm just reporting things I'm seeing.
That's right. He does have a penalty, but he's able to keep it on the road, it looks like. Wabu and chat saying, my wheel's gone. Keeps disconnecting. Wabu, that's unfortunate to hear after you're having a relatively good race for yourself. Carlton in Discord saying he's not having a good time.
This man I didn't see what happened, but the amount of damage on his car, oh dear lord.
Oh man, well he's still got some time ahead of Demon as Demon falls off the track yet again.
Our drivers are just not having a good time today. Notably, Arctic has a 40 42-second gap to Tony Cal?
Yeah, because he stayed out, and well, Moose was within 25 seconds before he had his incident.
Yeah, but that played. I can't believe how well that played into Arctic's hands.
You know what? I think it played very well into Arctic's hands.
Well, we'll have to see. This is a super long pit. We're used to the 20 to 25 seconds.
Yeah, we'll have to see
what happens here. Yeah,
Crispy could be holding on to that track position as long as he can. I'm sure Moose is going to be having the pit soon for his any sort of damage he's got as well.
Yeah, we'll see how it impacts Moose. It didn't look like too hard of an impact.
Okay.
And he's still got just over half a tank of fuel, and his softs are looking just fine. As Moose turns into Crispy, that is going to have a look at there. Although it looks like maybe, I don't know. I think Crispy was looking to go into the pits and was on the wrong racing line.
That's a possibility. I imagine that pit is tough, but I imagine you'd want to be hugging the inside. It looks like Crispy is in the pits, so he ended up making it. Arctic comes out of the pits, or is exiting the pits now. We're on board with him. Is currently in second place. Boostman is right behind him, though. As Arctic just comes out a bit squirrely, and Moose goes around him as Arctic is not able to maintain grip.
We said it was a long pit. That was quite a long pit, with Tony Cal having almost 14 seconds.
That was like a minute
now. Yeah, that's quite long.
Just under a minute or so.
I'm just going to take note of that incident between Crispy and Moose.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. Crispy ran his fuel tank down to 0 as well during that, so he needed to pit. If he was forced to not pit for any sort of reason, he would have been disqualified.
Yeah, that would have been really upsetting. Well, not DQ, but he would have only been able to use the limp mode.
Right. Steezy's down here in 4th place. He's again no man's land. We do see a yellow flag for someone. I don't know who. Is it Moose? Moose has had a moment yet again. He's let Arctic pass him. Steezy is up to 3rd place. Moose is back on the track now. Yeah, this is a rough race for a lot of these guys. So
yes, it is, and we called it ahead of time. Moose's practice maybe not treating him as well as he had hoped, unfortunately.
The driving at night is so rough.
That's another thing.
It's, you go from having all these braking points and all these references for when to turn in and stuff, even just as far as being able to see the track, right? There's no trackside lights really here or anything like that. And then to go from that to just relying on your headlights, it's extremely rough. Throw in the wet line, that's on the outside of the track. Like, these guys have one. It's like they have to be on a roller coaster or train tracks. They have one way to go, and if the moment they go off that track, they're straight up not having a good time.
Yeah, and it's really tough too. Again, there's that temporary exposure change that you can make. Oh, as Moose heads up into the wall towards the pit lane. Oh man, Moose has got it. He's looking for a stiff drink right now. Maybe get a drink while he pits.
He's gonna be needing a drink while he pits, and I'm sure he's gonna be fixing some of that damage. Notably, Specs is gonna be taking 4th place from him in just a moment. There he goes. Behind him, Marino is gonna be crossing the start-finish line. Gonna be taking 5th from Moose as Moose just sits there waiting to get fixed on. Unfortunate race anything's possible still, but you gotta give it to Tony Cal for running those intermediates, dealing with the pain that they were at the very beginning when really full wets were easier to drive on. He was able to keep up in 3rd place with these guys and has been able to capitalize on the mistakes of others and kind of made a really good judgment call. But also Arctic, man. I mean, we didn't think that him staying on those wets was really a good thing, but he did good fuel management, good tire management, and was able to get quite a few laps out of both his fuel and his tires. And he's in a
I'm gonna have to make note of something just now.
What are we seeing?
A terrible unsafe rejoin from Marino on purple.
Is that why Purple's now falling behind as Marino again spins around?
No, Purple is up into P5 now, but Marino was in the wall, and Purple ended up just hitting him right on the side. He's got front end damage now. Maybe this is going to force Purple to pit, though, who's still on intermediates.
Wow.
Yeah, very bold choice. Maybe they pitted and wanted to try and stick it out, but they're running 230s currently. That was unfortunate. Let me go ahead and take note of that, though.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, well, you would think you'd be able to see the lights from everyone on track at this point, but it's tough, especially when the very first thing that you think of when you're having an incident is getting right on track immediately. But unsafe rejoins, man, they can ruin some races. It looks like Purple is okay for the time being and going to enjoy his track position. Marino, on the other hand, yet again has Moose behind him, and I don't think he's long for 7th position.
Yeah, definitely not with the damage on both front and rear end. Marino's got the pit, I think, unfortunately. And this is something we anticipated, It was, while the drivers are so far being pretty damn clean, your own mistakes causing damage and such, man, it's just going to be brutal for you.
Look at this on what we're looking at with Moose, just him all over the back of Marino, and eventually does pass him. Yeah, unfortunate for Marino. Marino's had a roller coaster of a day. So is Moose. A lot of these drivers have had ups and downs already, and it's just been a long race, and we have plenty of it left to go. It feels like we've been here for hours already, but not quite.
Yeah, this is going to be quite some time. I'm noticing Purple finally coming into the pits because their rear tires are absolutely shot on those intermediates because the track is so dry now besides the pit lane. Yeah, they're coming in finally.
Yeah, we're just running down the grid, seeing how our guys are doing. Young Carlton, someone who qualified great, had a few mistakes here in the race, and again, really can't. This is a tough race for these guys. We knew it all week going into it. Carlton, for someone just stepping in, kudos to Carlton for doing what they're doing. They had a great qualifying, and obviously this race is tough going at night, with the rain. There's a lot of factors that are difficult to play around, and kudos to them for sticking it out. Wabu currently down in 11th. Someone who was having a hell of a race, I know, having some steering wheel issues, it seems like is causing them some issues. They get a bit squirrely, touching the grass a little bit, as we see Specs behind him. He's going to be getting the blue flags here in just a moment. He'll have to let Specs pass. Happy to see Specs up here, man. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And he's doing well for himself.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Specs did get a little bit squirrely a couple of corners ago, but keeping it together, which is great to see. Purple coming out of the pits, full load of fuel. Damage has been fixed, and on racing, softs just had to be careful on this pit exit. Will he spin out like everyone else has, or many people have so far? No, he looks to be in the clear. Hopefully Purple can keep up his Mr. Consistency name and make up some spots.
No, I'm just looking at Steezy here in 3rd place at the moment. Obviously, pit stops have a role to play in how things end up shaping up closer to the end of the race. But how many times have I been calling for a Steezy dark horse 3rd place?
Way too often for someone who likes to talk so much shit. You seem to be rooting for the wrong person.
I know, but the stars are aligning here, I feel like. I know Moose is hunting people down. Moose is currently behind Gilly in 6th place, and he's hunting down, trying to catch back up, but he's got quite the job ahead of him. Even Arctic, who's in 2nd place, is an 18-second gap between himself and Tony in 1st. So if Moose is going to try and get back on the podium, he's got his work cut out for him for sure. I would love to, listen, I don't want to curse anybody, but it would be fun to see someone on the podium.
It would indeed. Right now, it looks like, unless any mistakes occur, it looks like a Tony and Arctic 1-2. Again, anything can happen, as we've seen so far. But these two have definitely been the cleanest of everyone. Not really seeing any mistakes. And Tony Cowell's brazen strategy coming in clutch for him, really. Specs coming into the pits, I think, to repair some damage on his front end. Man, these drivers and their extra pit stops are just not helping their races. Moves up to P5. Obviously, Specs pit, so he got past him. But yeah, really doing a good job. Moose, I mean, still holding on to fastest lap there, 2:19.556. Absolutely rampant currently.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. If we jump on board with Tony Cal, his fastest is 2:20.478. Though I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of fuel saving coming into play here as well, as he's got track position. We know, as I say that, and Tony takes fastest lap with a 2:19.2. Never mind, I know nothing. I'm a fool. Don't listen to me, guys.
Yeah, again, oh my god, I'm just going down the roster and just seeing, so many various people with damage. It's just so funny. It's something we typically don't see too much is people willingly going into the pit lane to fix damage before their tires are fuel ready. But that's exactly what we're seeing today, as the track is extremely dry on the wet line. There's no rain currently. It's really interesting to see, though, your screen is much darker than mine, and I'm very curious as to why. It doesn't make sense to me.
It could be something having to do with the fact, like, you're watching from, or are you watching the stream?
I'm watching both stream and your screen broadcast to me. It looks like it's daylight by me. But anyway, Steezy coming to the pits because they're low on fuel. Their mediums are about half dead in the front. Maybe the mediums are a good choice, but we're seeing a lot of people put the softs to good use currently.
Maybe he'll be doing some fuel saving.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Notably, Moose did pass Gilly now, and they're coming across the start-finish line here in just a moment as they clear the chicane, and Moose is looking like a man on a mission.
That's for sure. Notably, Gilly is on the mediums versus Moose on the softs, but yeah, Moose has got pace right now. Like you said, man is on a mission. It's a tall order without any mistakes from Tony and Arctic for him to catch up, but maybe catching up to Steezy is on the menu.
Well, let's see here. Steezy is getting eggs in the pit here. We're on board with Steezy right now, and
Steezy repaired his. I don't know if he had damage, but only fueled up. Did not change tires.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Notably, though, a minute behind Arctic now, which is basically a pit stop, right?
Yeah, it is.
So once again, we talk about. I mean, pit stops will have to play themselves out as we get close to the end of the race. But again, Moose, he could take third, and to try to minimize any damage that his qualifying had, which would be great for him. He would still get a healthy amount of points, and he is currently leading before this race for the championship. So. But he wants second or first to be able to maintain as close of a gap in points to Tony Cal.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think P3 is likely the best finish that Moose can help for right now between his qualifying mishaps and the couple spins that he's given himself, unfortunately. But that's, if that's the best you can ask for, that's the best you can ask for, and that's what you can shoot for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as we see Gilly taking a visit to the gravel, thankfully not ending up in a wall or anything like that, but he is now 6 seconds behind Moose. Still a healthy amount of time ahead of Specs in sixth. Again, we're just seeing this. It's a long race, man. It's a long race in the dark. We jump on board with Specs now, 26 seconds behind Gilly. But notably, he does have Marino on his tail. Marino trying to make up some pace from his mistake earlier in this race. Crispy Nubbins having some good track position for himself, up to P8. Kind of in no man's land at the moment, doing a good job, it looks like so far. And, he had a good qualifying session, made the right call at the right time. Seemed like he really ran him and Tony were the only two that would start this race on those intermediates, and he ran it down as far as possible. We'll have to see if he's able to maintain track position if someone ends up catching up to him, and maybe he ends up falling behind a little bit. We have young Carlton over here who has had to pit repair some damage, probably up to P9. Marino enters the pits, probably for new tires, I imagine. He doesn't need
Marino's got damage as well. Remember they spun out and Purple hit them, and so Marino likely fresh tires, taking care of damage and fuel, a brand new car essentially.
Excuse me, brand new car indeed. We're with Purple Urkel, who is closing the gap now to young Carlton just ahead of him on this front straight. Minute and change between Purple and Labu in 11th place. As we see Purple has Marino, who's in the pits. We jump on board with Labu, and then, man, I feel bad for Demon. I know that he wasn't looking forward to this race, and you can see why. He has just not been having a good time.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see, especially, Demon, who has had his ups and downs. Really shines sometimes and doesn't at others. Not feeling comfortable today. Hopefully, as they are in the pits currently, but hopefully they can, I don't want to say get it together, but have a clean race from here on out and maybe capitalize on any further mistakes others make. Marino coming out of the pits, like I said, no damage, fresh tires, full load of fuel, I should say. Purple getting past young Carlton. Notably, Purple is on the softs with better tire life than the mediums of Carlton, so that should have been relatively easy. But Purple are really having some good pace currently. They were fighting a couple laps prior, and Purple spun out and making up some good time. Oh, I didn't even realize. Did you? You probably can't see it now. Purple no longer representing Urkel, but representing Taylor Swift.
I see how this rear bumper. I saw something different, but I couldn't tell what it was in the dark here. He's got Purple and he's got Swift.
He's just got T Swift everywhere. Purple, perhaps no longer closeted T Swift fan. That is funny. We'll have to ask him about that later. That's really funny.
Yeah, I enjoy Purple's love for his band. Always puts a smile on my face.
I love Purple. Yeah, absolutely. Just reporting from up front, Tony Cal, 22 seconds and change ahead of Arctic. Arctic over a minute ahead of Moose. Moose up into P3, though, which is great to see. For them, obviously, as much damage mitigation as possible. Steezy giving up that podium place that you were hoping for so much from him.
Yeah, Steezy just never fails to disappoint. I'm kidding, Steezy. I love you.
This mid motherfucker.
Yeah, you know it. He could still take fourth. Obviously, though, Gilly had quite the pace in qualifying. We'll have to see if he's able to maintain this track position as the pits strategies play out. I say pit strategies, but I don't know if anyone can really strategize much for this race. I feel like the most strategy was maybe in the beginning, and then went swap to soft
slicks.
Yeah, slicks. But other than that, it feels like you just kind of, pedal to the metal, and that's about it. Yeah, notably, Arctic still a minute and change ahead of Moose. Moose. I mean, that's a lot of time to try and take out of someone who's ahead of you.
Yeah, and their tire and fuel wear right now is very similar between Moose and Arctic, so I anticipate them having to pit at the same time, but a minute apart from each other, man. That's a tall order once again.
Mm-hmm.
Moose just kind of praying for a mishap. Notably, Tony is likely going to pit at the end of this lap. His fuel is incredibly low, but took those softs to a really good place, I gotta say, and really just trying to capitalize, maybe taking a bit of a tow from Crispy in front of him. He's got the blue flag, so yeah, Crispy just let him go by now.
Notably too, I mean, Arctic is going to be able to pit. Well, Tony's going to be able to pit, and he'll be well ahead of Moose. Arctic, if Arctic and Moose pit at different laps, I mean, Arctic's going to pit, and he'll be still ahead of Moose.
Exactly
Moose,
right.
He's going to have to once again drive through and fight through the field, whereas Arctic and Tony are not going to have anyone to fight with really, other than back markers for themselves. So
yeah,
Moose really
they
gonna have
are
a
in the
tough race.
clear.
Yeah, they these two just have to bring it home really.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Tony Cal heads into the pits. Like I said, his fuel was super low. Yeah, they are just kind of payphoning, as you would say.
They are indeed payphoning.
I think Arctic's strategy of staying out of the wets played in their hand a little bit. I'm still curious to see what would have happened if they came in for for slicks sooner.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously they have pace. They're a very competent driver.
You know what, though? I mean, the wets
let
really
me
just
know.
kind of helped ensure that they didn't make a mistake.
I agree. I agree. It
It's
was
almost
a
like a
ballsy
safety
move.
net.
Yeah, it was a ballsy move from Tony Cal and Crispy. Very much played into Tony Cal's hands. And he said he was going to have to be bold today, and bold he was.
Yeah, that call for the intermediates. I'm really hoping it works out for Crispy too.
Me too. Yeah.
You know, obviously, there's only so much benefit it'll give you from the beginning of the race till the end of the race. But to be able to make that call and stick with it, I think it was massive. And hopefully it's, and especially for Crispy basically did the Arctic strategy just on intermediates, as far as bringing those as long as possible.
Yes, he did.
We are on board with Tony Cal, who's going to be leaving the pits, and look at this gap still with Moose. He's going to be leaving the pits here in a moment. We'll be able to
Curious to see what it's going to be. 114, 113. It seems like it's stabilizing.
But even just look at the mini map. I mean, Moose is just getting to the main straight. He's about a minute. It's still deciding how far. But I mean, either way, it's going to be a lot. We know that.
Yeah. Why don't you jump on with Carlton, who's still chasing down Purple?
He's
now. Yeah, young Carlton down in P9. Again, they are on the harder compound. Their tires are slightly more worn than Purple. But yeah, looking at it in the cockpit view, it really, that 1.4 seconds looks like so far away.
Yeah. Well, especially right now when this is just a fly-out section for the most part.
Gilly coming to the pits with 0% fuel left.
Oof. Yeah, he's running that down. He knows his car.
Yeah, he knows his car.
Man, I like this chicane a lot. I don't know what it is compared to others.
Which one, the penultimate?
Yeah.
Or the last turn, I should say?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, I think it being at the end of the track kind of helps it feel a little bit better, because it's like, okay, now I can just go. You have the bus stop, but it's not nearly as bad as that one.
No, not by any means. I mean, you think about something like, what is it, Barcelona?
Yeah. When you have that chicane in that track, it feels miserable.
Feels miserable for some reason, but this one, I'm like, yeah, cool. I can get down with this one.
Yeah. You know, I think it's because it comes from a high-speed part of the track to another high-speed. You know, a nice long straight, or a decent straight, I should say. I just want to point out, Carlton did come to the pits, maybe going for an undercut on Purple, realizing that they're just not catching up with their mediums. I'm curious to see if they're going to come out on softs or not.
That might be the move. I mean, I don't know how thirsty that Audi is or not.
I know it's not great on tires, supposedly. Yeah. I don't know about the fuel.
We'll have to see for sure. You know, he was asking if he had to drive the Audi yesterday, and we gave him the option, like, hey, if there's something else that you feel like you enjoy better, like, as long as this is not taken, right? Like, we didn't want 3 Porsche drivers
exactly
on the grid, on the track. As we see Moose now pitting, so we'll have to keep an eye, see just how far he is. Arctic has still not pit. So he's still in track position, but I'm sure he'll be coming in here soon.
Their fuel is quite low. Moose was quite low. Who else? I was going to say Giller came in. He's on softs now, looking for some pace. Hopefully he'll have it to come around and maybe get up to P4. We'll have to see.
Steezy notably pitting as well. I don't know if it was a tire wear. He's got plenty of fuel.
Yeah. Their front tires are pretty shot.
Yeah. The specs crossing the start-finish line, and here's to see where he ends up. Looks like Moose is now getting to the refueling portion of his stop. I think Specs maybe, Specs is definitely going to be coming out ahead of Moose Man. Crispy.
Yeah, that's for sure. They're not far behind from a pit, though. Their racing softs are looking a little worse for wear.
Okay. So Purple sticking out another lap here. I'm sure Moose is going to be, Moose is exiting the pits now. Purple maybe a bit behind Steezy. We see Arctic finally entering the pits now as well. Let's see, we'll jump on board with Steezy's still in the pits. Let's see here. He comes out at Eau Rouge. Purple is just behind him, it looks like.
Yeah, Steezy coming out of mediums. Purple behind on softs, but they are obviously used. About half life left in the rear tires. Quarter tank of fuel. Purple's got 1 or 2 laps
and we
left
are
in it, I'm
now
not sure.
able to see the Taylor Swift livery from Purple having a great run there on Steezy, coming up to the bus stop. Obviously, he's able to carry more speed. As the pit exit does put you basically up a rouge. You're not carrying as much speed as if you were from turn 2.
Absolutely. And now, Purple and Young Carlton are fighting each other right now. Young Carlton deciding to go on the mediums, possibly because of the supposed tire eater that is that Audi. But quite a ways behind Purple.
I mean, he's got Gilly ahead of him, Marino ahead of him.
Crispy.
Wow, yeah, he's got.
Actually, he just got ahead of Crispy as Crispy's coming out of the pit lane.
Right.
Yeah, but still 20, 23, 24 seconds to Marino, another 18 seconds to Gilly, and then another 10 to Purple. This is played out of Purple's hand, I think. I mean, it's going to be close when Purple comes out of the pits for sure.
It's the power of T Swift, man.
That's right.
It's got Swift in her name. He's like, oh, that's fast. When we do that.
Purple has it on his livery, ready for it. I don't know that Carlton was ready for it.
I don't think so. We'll jump on board with Moose real quick. I'm just curious to see what he's looking like. So, 15, 16 seconds ahead of Steezy, who's behind him. Specs, the 10th, about 11 seconds ahead. I don't know. I mean, Specs doesn't have the pace that Moose was showing earlier today. But if we jump on board with Specs, we can see a minute and a half about between him and Arctic. Arctic up in P2. Actually, the time is coming down, so I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't know what's going on with that time. It is coming down drastically once again. Why is it still dropping?
I noticed that as well.
Is the game saying Crispy's really slow, so Arctic behind him?
I think the game's probably confused with daylight savings time in different parts of the world.
Yeah, that's obviously what's going on. Purple has finally entered the pit, so we'll have to keep an eye on Purple, where Purple is in comparison with young Carlton. Tony Cal holding first place, man. He is doing a great job today, and is another bright and sunny morning here at Circuit de Spa as Tony Cal goes ahead and turns another lap, only 17 seconds ahead of Arctic in second place. Not feeling any real threats at the moment. Although I say he's 17 seconds, this time's still coming down. I genuinely don't know what's going on.
It looks like it's 17 seconds and change to me.
Okay, so maybe it's settled.
Yeah.
Funny how that's working. The Purple gonna be exiting the pits here in just a moment. Young Carlton just passes him.
Yeah. Purple is just on the pit exit lane, unfortunately. So he'll have to make up some points, but notably, where is Young Carlton?
Oh no, they're fighting now.
Oh, yeah, you know what? It was Marino that passed him.
Marino, okay.
Wow. Purple
Wow.
coming out just behind Young Carlton. The undercut for Carlton not working out like he hoped, and notably...
I mean, he's ahead of him. He's ahead of Purple.
He's ahead, but the tire compound difference once more. Purple's on softs, Carlton is on mediums.
I wonder if Carlton just can't make those softs work on his Audi or not.
Probably not at this point. He's already got some wear after one lap.
Again, someone for just jumping in, like, they've done a great job.
Great job. Oh, no flame, no shame.
Yeah, of course
Absolutely not.
But it just goes to show the difference. If Purple was able to do a bit of practice this weekend, make any sort of setup tweaks that may be helping him out with tire wear as well, I don't know. But that tire difference is going to make a difference. Purple may be able to take this position away from Carlton in just a little bit and take P8 away from Carlton. Notably behind them is Arctic coming up to pass. So eventually, at the very least, yep, Arctic is coming. He is hunting
Crispy.
down. Oh no.
Crispy ended up at the wall. Looks like he doesn't have any damage, but he's going to have dirty tires now. So far, so good.
The tire detergent will take care of it.
Yeah, that's right.
I have confidence.
A little bit slippery.
Alrighty, so Moose currently holding fastest lap at the 218.6. Really, the only people I see fighting that are going to be Tony and Arctic at this point. Tony's fastest lap being at 219.0 as he turns another lap here. We keep on catching Tony as he's going across the chicane. This will not be an improvement. I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing a bit of fuel saving try and make these things last, especially with Arctic. It looks like Arctic is pushing. The time coming down a tiny bit between the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was 16 seconds, I believe.
Yeah, 15 or 16 seconds.
Yeah, now Arctic does have purple, I believe, in front of him, and young Carlton. He doesn't want to get in the way of their battle, but they can't hold up a back marker, so they'll both have to let him go without compromising their own pace.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of tough going up Eau Rouge and coming up to the bus stop. I don't know what the best. I don't know where the best part of the track would be to give this position. Obviously, he's not close enough to that it matters right now.
Yeah.
You're not obviously you're not required to like give up your position when they're this far spread apart. But the blue flag warnings will be up there for a minute as as these guys are fighting it out. Notably, Carlton holding off purple though, increasing the gap a tiny bit. Carlton looking pretty handy with that Audi through the bus stop. I don't know what the power is like on that thing. If he's able to gain a bit throughout Eau Rouge and through the back straight or not.
Yeah, I've not driven it. I love I'm a sucker for an R8, but I've not driven it in this game.
Notably, though, Arctic has gained considerable time on purple now. Oh, he's looking that way, and he will be passing him sooner than later.
Yeah, probably into a braking zone if I had to guess. This part of the track, especially, it's not exactly easy to pass anyone, especially to let someone pass you without sacrificing your own pace.
Yeah, well, it's tough. I mean, yeah, it's not like the BRZ. Well, the BRZ has some legs on it. I don't know how in comparison to the Peugeot, but obviously also Arctic has just raw pace on purple as well. Right. So he'll be getting there at some point or another. I do want to jump on board with our boy Marino, see how he's holding up. So he's got plenty of time between himself and Carlton. Nothing to worry about there. He's trying to catch Specs, and it looks like he had a fantastic first turn or so, and is bringing that time down. Actually, it's gaining a little bit now, but it's going back and forth. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell, especially when they're just at different points of the lap, right? So who's in a braking zone, who's not. Back into P12, Demon trying to unlap himself from Crispy. Crispy not giving it up. Crispy in P10 goes wide at the exit of the last turn, and Demon unlaps himself for now. We'll have to see how that continues. Crispy's tires notably are much fresher. Obviously, Demon fighting himself once more on those inner demons, living up to his name.
Yeah, Demon.
Oh, as Crispy turns right into a straight.
Oh, no.
Well, that's going to unlap Demon for sure for now. Crispy's got some front-end damage now, unfortunately.
He's able to hold 10th place, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're very much in their own race, right? Just like Labu, just like Demon. Unfortunately, those three in the back in their own races. Mr. Labu, obviously, we mentioned having some wheel difficulties.
Yeah, that's unfortunate,
not having a good time in the rain again.
Considering the race that Labu was having, man.
Yeah, man. It's upsetting.
Notably, so right now, if the race were to end, Tony's taking first place. Arctic is going to take second, and Moose takes third. Steezy taking fourth. Now, obviously, Steezy joined late, but that would give him quite the points compared to the guys around him. Like Marino, Demon especially.
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll have to take a look at the point standings after the race. We do see a yellow flag coming up here.
Mr. Labu was in the runoff.
The Pumpkin Man himself.
Pumpkin Man just not.
He thought he saw an exit on the highway for the BK Lounge.
The BK Lounge.
BK Lounge. Don't forget your coops. You got coops.
Yeah, they got some good coops.
Throwback to shout out to Dane Cook. Anybody, if anyone's old enough to remember Dane Cook.
Before he started dating really young girls.
Is that his thing?
I think it's his thing, if I remember correctly.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, it's not great.
That's unfortunate.
It's not a good look. Yeah. They should not let him cook. I'm still watching this Purple v, or I should say Arctic v Purple v Carlton. Arctic not catching up to Carlton as quickly as I would have anticipated. Maybe
Well-
Carlton's found some pace on those mediums.
Between that, maybe Arctic's doing some fuel saving.
Yeah, that's very possible as well. Taking a look, yeah, his fuel is definitely in a better place. Fuel and tires in a better place than Moose. Obviously, Moose is just pushing as much as he can. The gap to Arctic, though, is just down 7 seconds, which actually is a lot of time, right? And that could be, like you said, playing due to some fuel savings or tire management.
Probably though. How's Tony's fuel looking?
Tony is just under half, but yeah, that gap to Arctic is it's slowly coming down. I mean, it was at 16 seconds previously, now at 11 and a half.
Yeah, it's either I don't see why Tony would have suddenly lost a bunch of pace, or Arctic would have gained a bunch of pace. I feel like Tony's got to be doing some extreme fuel saving right now.
I think, he can't see, obviously, that Arctic is between
That's right, he can't.
two back
The
runners.
downfall of
VR,
man, you can't see the
did
time
you know
delta.
you can't see shit? Yeah.
Yeah,
see
you
anything
can
in
see
VR.
everything, but you can't see anything.
It's a real shame that Polyphony has not increased that. You know,
The customizability of the UI
yeah.
and the HUD, you mean? Yeah.
And the HUD, yeah. God forbid.
Oh, Tony gets a bit squirrely. Saves it. Manages to
Saves it,
continue
that's
going
good.
straight on a straight. It's the way you
I
want
do like
to see it.
that. Arctic catching up to Carlton slowly but surely. I'm curious. Yeah, Carlton's probably having those blue flags fly forever. But yeah, Arctic ready to overtake Carlton, I think. Get some fresh air.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe into this chicane. I mean, he's close, but he's not that. It looks like he's gaining here on this straight though. Maybe we'll be seeing him pass here shortly. Oh, as Carlton goes deep.
Carlton outbreaks
Makes it
himself.
straight on the right, and that's fortunate for him. Fortunate
And
though
they're
for
headed into the
Purple,
pits.
as Purple's not going to pit. I mean, past Carlton. As
I'm
Carlton,
surprised to look at a pit right now.
maybe he just said, I screwed up.
Yeah,
Get it done.
throwing some softs or something. I'm not sure. I mean, they're third and tank of fuel. Their tires are just over half. Well, they still have half their life. Curious choice, that's for sure.
Yeah, we so we'll have to keep our eye on this gap between Arctic and Tony Cal. Now, obviously, they're on different pit timings, right?
Yes,
They're
they
on
are.
different pit windows.
They are in different pit windows, but I mean, yeah, just the way it looks though. Tony Cal's got less fuel and less tire life left, and then Arctic, so he's gonna have to pit sooner. Maybe Arctic either just started pushing or is just trying to make up a lot of time when Tony does head into the pits, which obviously he can see when Tony goes to the pits while you're driving. He's close enough to see that. I wonder what's going through Arctic's mind right now.
Yeah, what I wouldn't be to be a fly in his head. We are
I
on
mean,
board.
hell, if I could, I'm sorry, I could learn a little something about controller driving.
That's true, actually. Yeah, we are on board now with Gilly, who's got Steezy right behind him, almost within a half second. We have a fighter on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We have found one.
We do, yeah. That's exciting to see, honestly. Gilly on the softs, Steezy on the mediums. Their fuel is exactly the same. So maybe Steezy's finding some pace right now, and he's gonna likely get a tow from Gilly.
Gilly's been
that
having a
huge-
great race overall, though. I mean, he had a great quality as well.
Yeah, again, coming out of a couple of weeks off, and as Steezy's braver on the brakes. Oh, as they both
He goes
Steezy
wide.
goes wide into Labu. Gilly gets squirrely on the exit. This is still playing out in Gilly's favor as Steezy is now behind Labu once more. Obviously, it's easy enough place for Steezy to make up, but
Unfortunate for
making
Steezy, though,
mistakes.
he was on him. He was getting close and just had a bad judgment call or missed a braking point, and then boom, he's now behind. He's got to go around into the back marker again.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for him, we'll jump on down with our good old buddy Specs here in no man's land, racing himself right now. He, for him to come in for a race and finish up sixth wouldn't be too bad at all.
Yep. Again, don't count anything out. We've got 12 more laps in this race.
It feels like
I
it's been
should-
forever. Holy.
11 more laps because Tony Cal's on lap 27. It does feel like it's been forever. Well, we had a longer qualifying than usual, and
the rain felt like it added years onto this.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's how they felt about their track times, their lap times as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Purple, currently, what's up a purple sector?
Living up to his name.
Living up to his name. He has got to be basking in the fact that he doesn't have anyone right behind him right now.
Yeah, he's got to be very happy about that.
That mistake from Carlton, and now Carlton did pit early. They were on similar pit times, I believe.
Yeah, just different tire compounds. Still surprised to see that, but maybe Carlton just not feeling comfortable with the tires past half-life.
Can you happen to see if Carlton is on softs right now, or is he back?
They are on mediums once more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they just didn't feel like maybe they had damage and they didn't want to bother with it.
They didn't even have damage.
Well, then I'm out of excuses.
Now, obviously, the mediums are probably the right choice for that Audi because his fuel and, tires. In my mind, you really don't want to have mismanagement of those.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you want to do both at the same time. Unless you can make your tires last 2 fuel tanks, which the hards would be the only way to go, but we're not seeing anyone use those anymore.
No, those days are long gone, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do. Again, we keep saying it. I wish there was a way for them to be viable.
Yeah, maybe we'll see next season what if any sort of changes look like,
Yeah. Now the gap to Tony Cal and Arctic is down to just under 9 seconds, it looks like, or under 8.25 seconds, I should say.
Yeah, Tony's gotta be sweating a little bit now. I mean, listen.
If he can see it, yeah.
Yeah, if he's able to see anything. I don't know if he's able to see.
You can't see anything in VR. For those of you listening, that is a joke because every time they talk about how great VR is, they like to decide to tell us, "Oh, but you can't see anything in VR."
Yeah, apparently you can't see the delta between the driver behind you, which is like a massive thing to know. I feel like.
Yeah, that's kind of like. Mandatory information.
I understand VR, for realism and everything else, but like, obviously you still have a HUD. For the game, it's a smaller one and it's slightly customizable, I think. But like that's pertinent information, right?
I agree, 100%.
They can't see fastest lap information for quality or themselves.
It surprises me. It's so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird call to make. But obviously, Tony. I don't know how Moose feels. Because Moose is relatively new to the VR as well. Him and Tony got it around the same time. But I know Tony said that felt like he's found a couple seconds of pace.
Yeah, I mean, I think
VR.
If you feel comfortable with it, you don't get motion sickness, which is a thing people struggle with VR headsets. But yeah, I think if anything, it's just gonna aid you, especially if you're using a steering wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I'm on board with Carlton, who makes his way past Crispy just now. It was a really nice move. I wish we caught it on stream.
Yeah, I was trying to see. I saw a couple of them on the mini map. I was trying to figure out who it was.
Yeah. Carlton pitting significantly earlier than I would have expected, putting him behind Crispy. But he's got the pace, it looks like. I think Crispy had a moment as well, because Crispy's got front-end damages again. Who we were just talking about Crispy running a good race. And, again, everyone seems to be their own worst enemy today.
Yeah, well, if it's not the rain, it's going to be themselves, I suppose. You know what, though? I was happy to see... Well, I couldn't see it, actually. Because my PlayStation game, the PT7 decided to crash at the beginning of the race. But there was no lap 1, turn 1 carnage or anything like that?
I didn't see anything. I was shocked.
Oh, man. We're evolving. You'll love to see that.
I gotta say, I've been impressed the last few races. We haven't seen much of anything, and I love to see that. So, Moose... Man, if you're Moose right now, all you're trying to do is finish up today, right? You gotta finish in third.
That's his only option right now, and he's obviously poised to do so. He's well ahead of fourth place. I don't know what the true gap is between him and Arctic, but we know it's like a pit stop.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a minute. They're both on the same fuel and tire wear,
Right,
basically.
right.
And Gilly is on the same pit strategy as
Speaking
them
of,
as well.
Moose goes in for a pit.
Yeah, he's got no more fuel. Giller's gonna do the same thing behind him.
And I'm sure we'll see Arctic here be doing the same thing at the end of his lap.
And Tony Cow. Yeah, their tires are shot. They've got almost no fuel left. So this again, for Tony and Arctic, there is a coming down. That gap is just coming down.
Yeah.
Tony Cow's front tires are shot, and he's probably feeling it right now. Arctic has a little bit more life left in his, so he's probably feeling slightly more confident. Tony Cow, man, you've got 9 more laps remaining of this. He does not want to give it up.
Man, if he doesn't take it, if Arctic takes first away from Tony Cow, that's going to be a blow to Tony, someone who needs a clean sweep today, really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Moose is holding fastest lap for now. Obviously, we know Tony can take that away if he has a chance. But Moose can take it right back as well. Arctic might throw himself in there. Who knows? But yeah, Tony Cow's going to have to pick up the pace. I mean, we're coming down into it. And he's going to have to hope, number one, that his team has the greatest pit stop of all time. Just kidding. We know that they're static. As we see both Tony and Arctic going in. But, I mean, I'm sure both Tony and Arctic are going to be sending it as soon as they get out. It'll be interesting to see if there's anyone that separates them as they both leave the pits. Where they end up. I mean, it looks like Gilly's pitting or is in the pits. Purple just went in the pits. So who's going to be left out on track for them to be between?
Steezy coming down the main straight now. Let's see, where are they at? Yeah, Tony Cow just got to his pit stop, so it's such a long pit lane.
Tony Cow saying, let's get this damn fastest lap now. Bye. As he starts refueling. Let's see, Purple is now in the pits as well. We'll have to take note of that Purple v Carlton fight and see where these guys end up.
Yeah, Carlton coming around the chicane now onto the main straight. So it looks like they'll likely get ahead of Purple here. Purple's refueling currently.
Alrighty, so let's see. Tony Cow has finished fueling, as has Arctic, who's just now behind him.
Yep, Tony Cow coming out of the pit lane now. The gap should be like the same, realistically. Because, they both refueled and got new tires. They're both on softs, both on full loads of fuel.
Notably, no one between them.
No one between them, which works out for both of them, I think. Well, especially Arctic, right?
Yeah. I mean, holy, that time difference between the Moose.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Wild to see.
Wild, absolutely. Specs, gonna have to pit soon. His tires are shot. Likely I would imagine he's gonna pit coming up here at the end of this lap. Gilly behind, though, less than a pit stop between them, and Gilly pit last lap, so Gilly will end up ahead of Specs if he pits. Specs choosing not to pit. His front left has a sliver of life left, man. I can't believe that. I know he's got the fuel, but that's a risky move.
Risky move by our Irish friend. Yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't spin out or anything like that. Obviously, the entire track is dry. He doesn't have to worry about that at this point. But, once those tires go dead, man, it is tough. And that is a heavy car to be, thinking about your tire wear and everything else like that. As he goes maybe a bit wide at Eau Rouge, and the Crispy falls in line just behind him. As Crispy exits the pits there. No penalty for Specs, so it looks like he's A-okay. We'll have to keep an eye on where he ends up. Notably, I mean, he's got a pit, but he's not far behind Booth.
No,
for the time being. Obviously, like, he's a pit stop behind, so he's far behind. But all right, and Arctic is still taking his time down from Tony. I don't know where.
What is Tony doing?
Tony's. I mean, he's got to be trying to save a bit.
Yeah, I think he wants to have some life in those tires to fight at the end. This is going to be close, though, with the time that Arctic is taking out. I'm just shocked.
Yeah, I mean, it's either you take the life out of the tires now, or you do it later. But at some point, you're going to have to.
Yeah,
And
that's for sure.
I guess Tony is maybe he's playing on the safer side. You know, and hoping that maybe Arctic is going to send it too fast. I mean, Tony did a 306 on his outlap, and Arctic did a 305.3.
Yeah, that 1.8 seconds, Tony Cow puts in a fastest sector 1. Arctic can't match it or beat it. Does put in a personal best. I think Tony Cow maybe is playing a little bit safe until Arctic gets a little bit closer. 5 to 6 seconds is still quite a gap, realistically, right?
Maybe he's trying to maintain a certain gap. Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. But their tire wear and their fuel use is exactly the same. I mean, I know they pit, you know, in the same lap and everything. But if their fuel and tire wear is the same, and Arctic is taking time out of Tony, it's only a matter of time.
Right. Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and find out. That would be a terrible upset for Tony. Again, Arctic's not really in the fight for the championship. He's fighting for Gilly for 4th, I guess. Well, actually, since Winter is no longer racing for the rest of the series, they're fighting for 3rd. So I guess Arctic is gonna be fighting for that podium spot as far as the championship points go.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that Arctic is out for the Manu series for the rest of it. But
it's the MX5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think they were away this weekend.
Well, either way, with them missing a race, I mean, there's only 2 left.
Absolutely.
I don't think he'll be able to take it back with 1 race left to go. You see Tony Cal turning yet another lap here at Circuit de Spa. Lap 32 out of 38. He puts up the fastest lap.
He called it.
Have an answer to that or not? Arctic takes it
does.
away. Arctic takes it away. These two are going to be going at it. Yeah.
By 2/10.
Yeah.
Arctic did not have a purple in Sector 1 last lap, but obviously made a time elsewhere.
Yeah, I do wonder. I wonder what the difference is between these 2 cars, as far as if their strengths go or not. I'm not too familiar.
Yeah. I do believe the BRZ has higher top speed, I think. The Lexus feels pretty comfortable to drive, though, I gotta say.
Yeah, well,
Tony Cow puts it in the purple Sector 1.
You would have thought that an Arctic also puts it in the purple Sector 1.
He's got an answer for it.
These guys are going to be trading blows left and right.
Whoa. I mean, hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I said they're fighting, brother, please. I mean, if Moose can take that fast lap, that would for sure help him as well. I don't know if he's doing any sort of saving or whatsoever. His last lap was a 2:19.6. We'll see what this lap is as he comes across the start-finish line here. And slower there. But he's on more used tires as well, right?
No, actually, barely. And he's got a lighter fuel load.
Interesting. And he goes wide at turn 1 there. Gilly putting up a 2:19.3 is his fastest lap.
A second off Tony Cal.
Yeah, he, I mean, I don't know if it's the AMG. Gilly also has been out for a few races, but he's been doing well, obviously, to be in 4th place up here for now. Steezy is 6 seconds behind him. I know Steezy would love to take that 4th place away from him, but he's got his work cut out for him if he's going to do anything of the sort. You see Dave Gilly about to finish up another lap here, not improving on that fastest lap. This is a 2:20.171. Steezy behind him, definitely not going faster. Actually, he's a second slower than Gilly there. So Steezy, if he has any, I mean, listen, 5th would be a good finish for Steezy, but I mean, I think he's got the pace to do better than that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, Steezy, he's beating he's in front of the people that we said he was fighting with, right? Like that he's been fighting. He typically has been fighting Gilly for position. Obviously, again, Gilly, I would give him the benefit of the doubt, being a little bit out of practice and such. But Steezy, just being so far behind the points, just wants to finish as high as he can at this point.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Right? He's going to get ahead of Crispy with this finish as long as nothing catastrophic happens.
That's true as well, yeah. Notably, real quick, Tony Cal put up a 2:17.905. Arctic answered that with a 2:17.819. Another
That
fastest,
is wild.
another purple sector 1 from Tony Cal. Let's see, Arctic, are you able to improve on that? Arctic is not.
He is not. Almost 4/10 down.
Is this the point in time where Arctic's trying to save, though? I mean, that time is increasing a tiny bit. Tony may be pushing again.
I mean, Tony Cal definitely wants that fastest lap because he wants the extra point. We know that.
He needs these points for sure.
Absolutely. Not from Arctic, though. So, realistically, for Tony, I think if Arctic gets that fastest lap, it's not the end of the world. Tony Cal just wants to ensure his win over Moose in this series.
Thing is, though, he doesn't know that.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Apparently he doesn't know that.
Apparently. Yeah, I don't know.
Why is that?
The superior VR that they have.
Oh, yeah, you can't see
You can't see anything in VR. Yeah. Right.
So, apparently they have a blindfold mode in VR, so you can't even see the track.
Spend more money, you can't see us. No purple sector 2 for Tony, but it does put up personal best. Arctic going wide, gets into the dirt, and is now going to be slowing down. Tony, well, I'd say Tony's going to be happy about that, but once again, as we've discussed 30 seconds ago, you can't see that.
Now, Arctic tires are going to be a little bit dirty now. This lap is going to be a wash for him, and it's going to just let Tony Cal increase that gap. As we see, it's at about 7.5 seconds, just shy of that. Curious to see Tony Cal's going to cross the line and what time he's putting in.
Let's see here. 216, 217. It's not going to be faster. 217,
Nope,
872. Not quite.
Just shy,
best,
though.
his personal best. But, it's just shy of fastest lap.
600th off. Yeah.
We'll
As
chill.
Arctic comes across, puts it at 220.6. Yeah, 2.4 seconds off, something like that.
Yeah, it's all from the that sector 1 and that trip into the gravel. Go on board. We're gonna mosey our way down through the grid. See how everybody's doing. Young Carlton has entered the pits once again.
Man is out of fuel, and his rear left is got about 25% left.
Ooh, as we see Specs putting in a purple sector 1.
Wow. That's not even meant to be sarcastic. That's just we've been seeing Tony and Arctic battle it out. That Specs coming out of nowhere in the Jag.
The Jag. Well, I think this Jag is fast in the straight line.
I think so. It just feels terrible to drive.
It feels absolutely horrible to drive. I can't get that thing rotated for the life of me.
No, it feels like a boat.
Which is why I stopped trying.
And it sucks because I'm a sucker for the F-Type.
As we see Tony Cal behind Specs, and he is going to be coming for that Irish booty sooner than later.
Yep, I mean,
Specs can give it
if you
up.
like potatoes.
Purple Oracle on the other hand in P7, no man's land currently. I'll have to pit again as Young Carlton ended up offsetting their pit strategies at the previous stop.
That's for sure. Young Carlton making it a point to finally go on some softs and only fuel up 3/4 of a tank. He knows the softs won't last a full tank of fuel like the mediums, and I think that's a really wise choice.
That's a smart choice for sure. Smart choice for sure. I wonder how it's going to work out for him pace-wise. He has a personal best of 220.0 for a lap. So we'll have to see if he's able to improve upon that, because he has been. This is the first time on softs, right? So
I believe so. Yeah.
let's check in.
He's gonna enjoy that feeling.
Keep an eye on that. Purple, on the other hand, has a personal best of 219.9, but they've been on softs. So we'll have to see who's able to come out on top between those two. In 10th place, we have Crispy Nubbins, our resident Tide. We need a Clorox livery.
I must have missed something here. Crispy, Demon was right behind Crispy at the chicane. Crispy turned right on the straight, or turned left on the straight into the wall, and Demon got past him. I was like, oh, good for Demon. Demon must have had a moment after that Crispy got past him again.
Yeah, Demon.
Demon, my man.
Demon and Labu are just having the worst days, man.
Yeah, Labu, I think his wheel has had it. He's in the pits. He's retired for the race, unfortunately.
Unfortunate to see for the pumpkin BK man himself.
Unfortunately, BK not keeping up with their pumpkin spice needs.
And we see another sector 1 turn by Tony, not a personal best or a fastest purple sector 1. Same thing for Arctic. Obviously, there's only so fast you can go. A 9-second gap though between the two of these guys now. I mean, if Tony makes a mistake here, Arctic is going to be able to close that gap. But with three laps, 4 laps left to go, we might be seeing how this race finishes right here and now.
Absolutely. I mean, again, Tony Cal just has to bring it home. I can't believe that you can't see your delta to the person behind you in VR. That would drive me nuts, because this is the case where Tony Cal could really just say, like, I don't need to push anymore. I just need to bring it home.
Between that and not being able to see fastest lap.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild.
It's like you're at a detriment, especially at a point like this where Tony needs fastest lap. He doesn't. I mean, does he know he has fastest lap? Maybe it does. I have to imagine the game still gives you that information, right? Like,
I would think. But I mean, Tony Cal catching a toe behind Specs. Excuse me.
he's gonna get past.
Absolutely getting past right there. That's a good place for it. Now Steezy's gonna have to make way. Likely gonna happen on the main straight, I would imagine, or I don't even want to call it the main straight anymore, because it's not as much long of a straight as we see elsewhere. But so yep, Steezy heads into the pits and easily lets Tony Cal pass.
Yeah, that's an easy way to let him go.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Just throw yourself into the pits. Why not? Lose a minute. It's fine.
Yeah, but you know what? This is going to play out in Specs' race, because he's going to stick behind Tony Cal as much as he can for a nice toe. That's not a bad place to be for Specs.
No, I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, Steezy had to come in. His front tires were absolutely shot.
Let's see. Purple Urkel, where are you at, my friend? He is coming up to the chicane. Steezy's still in the pits. Going to be starting that refueling here in just a moment. And I'm sure Purple's going to be pitting soon. So, do you think Young Carlton's going to be able to make their end of the race without pitting again? And does Purple still need to?
I think they can. They've got 4 laps left, maybe 3 if Tony Cal's lapped them. So
yeah,
I think they can if they're considerate. But again, they did fuel up only 3/4 of the way, but they did have leftover fuel when they pit for their mediums, so they may be able to meet that last. Purple Urkel, only a third of a tank of fuel left. Yeah, he's gonna likely have to pit or try to just make it last.
That's gonna be
which
tough.
Is still a tall order. Yeah.
I mean, you have to. He's probably. So let's see. Tony Cal is on a lap 36, so Purple's gonna be a lap behind.
That's right.
So he has a penalty at the moment. He may be able to make it work. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I mean, I can think it depends. I know it depends, obviously, on how hard people are pushing. But I've seen the fuel suddenly just plummet in people's cars, where you think they're okay, and then it's like, oh no, they got to pit the next lap. You know?
Right, exactly. Yeah. You see here, Tony Cal catching up to Crispy ahead of him. No issues today so far that we've seen as far as back markers obeying the blue flags and stuff and like that. And just like that, Tony Cal is passed.
Yeah, no, for the most part, it seems everyone's been pretty, very respectful, actually, I gotta say. It's been a great race from that aspect, and clean racing and no major mishaps other than people's own personal mistakes.
We had that unsafe rejoin a couple times, right? And we also, didn't we have someone turning on Crispy?
Yeah, that was Moose, but Crispy was not in the proper line for entering the pits. I can't blame Moose for that, but at the same time, you kind of have to be more aware, I feel like, you know?
Yep.
But you can't see anything in VR, so.
Yeah, of course not. No. Even other cars, which is why that happens,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, imagine paying $400 for a lesser gaming experience. Blows my mind.
Oh, we are some salty salmons over here. Notably, Tony Cal increasing that gap now to 9 seconds plus, and he has fastest lap with a 2:17.1. Arctic was not able to answer that this previous lap, and with 2 laps to go, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to. It seems like he may have been, I don't want to say running out of steam, or what, maybe he's just been holding up for the last lap or so.
Yeah, Arctic, his fuel and tires are slightly better than Tony. I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference, as Tony Cal has 2 laps left. I just wanted to point out, Yuma is in chat. Hello, Yuma. He says, I would be fine with having no delta because I start to struggle / panic if I look at it once. I completely understand that. That's a valid point.
Yeah, for sure.
But would it be nice to have the option to turn it off or on?
It's good information to have. I mean, like, especially for someone like Tony Cal, who you just have to bring it home right now. You don't, he needs fastest lap for the championship, but not knowing.
Right.
Like, not knowing if you need to turn it back up or if you can just relax for the rest of the race.
if you could toggle it in race, just like you can toggle your ghost on and off when you're doing time trials, I think that would be the move.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think Purple's going to be trying to not pit again. And
dude, that's a tough call. His fuel's in the red.
I mean, he'd have to be doing it now. Oh, that's...
I mean, he knows he's been lapped by Tony Cal.
Purple?
He knows Tony Cal's a lap ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still a tall order. If Purple can do this, kudos. But that means he's going to be a super lean on his fuel, pace mixture.
Yeah, I mean, let Steezy pass, and
Steezy having a run.
There you go.
I mean, that's pretty easy. Purple probably just knowing it's not worth him to push. Steezy's got plenty of fuel and tires on him. Purple just, he's got to be the ease of that pass. Oh no, Purple's got his blinkers on.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that was a accidental push, I'm not sure. Or maybe just telling people, hey, go by me, I'm going as slow as possible.
He is short shifting like his life depends on it, because it does.
Absolutely, his position.
And I imagine he's got the fuel mapping off as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got to be going as lean as possible.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 18 seconds between himself and Marino right now. He's got to be hoping. He's got to be trying to figure out where Tony Cal is on the mini map. He's like, please just let this race end.
Yeah, Tony Cal not having a lot of fuel left. Obviously, this is his final lap.
Though,
he's going around the bus stop.
Notably, I mean, it's not like he's going to be able to just he's going to have to do another lap.
Oh, Purple. I will.
Just Tony finishes. He's not like qualifying where it's like, okay, cool, we're done. It's a lap counter. If we had the race on a timer like 90 minutes, that's one thing.
Yeah.
That is a bull.
No. If when Tony Cal finishes, when Purple crosses the line, it'll be done.
Yeah, but I'm saying he has to do the rest of this lap.
Yes.
Like Tony Cal is ahead of him. It's not like the lap is the race is over as soon as Tony Cal finishes, and that's it. He has to finish his lap.
Yeah, you're right.
If he was like two laps, you know what I mean? It's so yeah.
Oh, Specs having a run on Giller down on P5. Specs getting sloppy though. Wow, Giller must have felt him breathing down his neck, and Specs is still getting sloppy. Oh my God, what a run that just was.
Sloppy Specs.
Sloppy Specs living up to the Irish heritage.
Easy, where are we at, bud? Easy's gonna end up.
Easy, half-second penalty.
He's just doing all right. Purple P7. Let's see. Tony Cal is coming up to the chicane here for the final time of this race, and he currently holds fastest lap. I don't know if Moose is gonna be able to take that away from him. Tony Cal having some fun on the way. He finishes P1. Gilly's going to cross the line and finish P4, Bex P5, and Mark to P2 right behind him.
Tony Cal keeps fastest lap from Arctic. What can Moose do? Does Moose have it in him?
Where is
His fastest
Moose?
currently is a 2:18.1.
A full
Moose
second
still a ways away
behind.
from the end. Yeah, a full minute, you mean?
No, a full
minute
second.
and change.
Well, I meant lap-wise.
Oh, lap-wise, yeah.
Is there any fighting going on that week? No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, I think...
I got berated last time for not catching the midfield pack race.
Yeah, there's no fighting right now. The only fight really is Purple at his fuel tank. Purple coming up to the last chicane, though. Looking like he's just able to make this last. What a management race. Coming home for P7 for Purple. That is just... what?
Look how slowly this man is going.
Yep.
I mean, kudos to Purple for making that stick. That was a very, very good finish for him.
Absolutely. Whereas Moose is coming around the back here, high speed section. Not sure what he's going to be able to do though.
I don't think he's going to be able to do much. Listen, if he's able to get that fastest lap away from Tony, I'll be very impressed. But based off his current fastest with 2:18.1, which was the last lap, his previous lap, I don't think so. Tony Cal already celebrating in chat. Let's fucking go. Tony Cal very happy with his performance. Tony did not put a toe out of line. Moose crosses the line. 2:17.9. Third place, not fast enough to take the fastest lap away from our race winner and the pole sitter for today, Tony Cal, taking home maximum amount of points. Started this race 121 points versus Moose's 137. We're going to get that updated here momentarily. Tony Cal's a smooth operator. Man's got to be extremely happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be just ecstatic. That's exactly what he wanted. That's exactly what he needed. This is 2 races in a row for the Manu Series where Tony takes pole and fastest lap.
Yeah, that's a fantastic drive.
That's 27 additional points for Tony Cal.
Yeah, that is massive. Massive, especially with Moose coming home third.
Yeah, Purple in chat in Discord saying, holy fuck, I only had 1 lap of fuel with 2 laps left. Yeah, Purple, that was something else.
Absolutely amazing to see.
Tony Cal saying that was a full-on management race. You managed it quite well, my friend.
Yeah, congrats to Tony Cal for a very, very good win. And as you can see on the screen right now, this is how the race started. And it ended bright and sunny. We had some drivers with some ups, some drivers with some downs. But kudos to Tony Cal, pole sitter, fastest lap in the race, and ends first place. Arctic having a solid race for themselves as well. Coming in second after the qualifying, not so great, I believe. And
yeah,
Moose coming home third after a really bad qualifying. Quite the time off from Tony Cal and Arctic because of that qualifying and a few mistakes here and there, but still a solid mitigation to his points. Taking home 15 points for the day. That is gonna put him at 152 points. To Tony Cal's 148 points. So these guys are very close going into the final race of the season, which is going to be at Nürburgring. Unfortunate for we had a few guys with some really rough races. Labu having a wheel issue, Demon having rain issue, everything else. Unfortunate to see, but just how it goes.
Absolutely. Hey, I just want to give shout out to Deja in Twitch chat. First time watching, no idea what this is really, but good job everyone, commentators as well. Much appreciated. Quick rundown. This is a Gran Turismo series that we're running. We have a Discord full of our drivers, and we just like to put on a race for everyone, commentate along the way, and glad you jumped in, and thank you for the follow.
Happy to have everyone here. So that was a day at Spa, man. We had it all. We had rain. We had upsets.
That was the least relaxing Spa I've ever seen.
Agreed. And yeah, what a race. So let's take a look at the standings. I can't get the updated version on the screen for some reason, but Moose holding first place by only 4 points, separating him and Tony Cal in second place. If Tony can do the same thing next week, he's gonna be real happy. What a way to end the season for him. We have Gilly holding third place by 1 point.
There we go.
Thank you for that.
I'm trying, yeah.
Gilly with 118 points. Arctic with 117 points. Winter 107 in fifth place. Our midfield has changed up a bit, I think. Labo in sixth. Purple got some nice points today. He's up to seventh place. Marino in eighth with 54. Specs in ninth. Heeman in 10th. Heeman unfortunately having a race where he should have been further up, I think, and he'll be kicking himself for that. So
yeah,
we have one race left in this series, like I said, which will be the Nürburgring, which should be a fantastic race. And we also have one more race with our MX5 series, which will be next Sunday. MX5 will be finishing off at Road Atlanta, which will
fantastic.
Be exciting.
Fantastic track.
Fantastic track there. We will cover those points and standings before the race that day, and then the week after that we'll be at Nürburgring for the Group 3 series, and that's that. So maybe we'll have to get some of the MX5 guys on before the race next week as well. But
yeah, that's right, and we'll get them in for the Group 3 guys in for the Nürburgring, where we will be doing a featured sprint race, 12 laps, and around the Nuremberg GP, not the full track, and then a 9-lap race around the Nürburgring 24-hour layout. So a couple of different races going on there. Obviously, another legendary track. We keep talking about it, but it is just going to be something else. We thought Spa was tough today. Nürburgring is going to be another really tough one.
yeah, looking forward to it for sure. And like I said, we'll be back next Sunday and the following Sunday, 1300 EST, wherever you are in the world. Figure that math out for yourself.
Don't forget to take into account daylight savings time.
Yeah, that's it too. But thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Cheers, everyone.